And we're live. Hi, everybody. So, it has been a very eventful weekend with Summer Games Fest and a whole bunch of other things that happened. Particularly today, at the time of me streaming this, with the Nintendo Direct that happened. That's not to say there weren't other cool things that happened over the Summer Games Fest thing. Oh, excuse me. So I guess before I start, I'm gonna give a little preface on something. Guess who's dealing with another pinched nerve issue? This guy. And because of that, if you ever hear me take any particular pauses to stretch or something, that's because maybe I'm having a little flare-up. It's not as bad as it was yesterday. Like, I have had to take time off work because, you know, I've got a physical job, and because I work a physical job, my ability to do my job hinges on me having a, you know, non-sore spot. And it was so bad that I could feel it down my arm. So today I went to go see the chiropractor. I got fixed up a little, but I'm gonna be going back a couple more times to stretch out the sore area so it can actually loosen up and get the knot and nerve free and done, because I don't like having this horrible pain. I also got a new pillow because my other pillow has been ripped apart and it has been losing its stuffing, so I don't know what kind of support my neck's been getting, but it's not a good one. So that's fun. But video games, that's exciting. So, yeah, a lot of exciting things happened. We'll kind of discuss things as we go along, but Summer Games Fest, I'll say this much. Summer Games Fest, nothing really excited me for that. Like, a few things got me pretty eyebrow raised with, like, the AAA game showcase. Persona 6 got a release, well, not a release, but like a new trailer, which, cool, but I don't know how I feel with how little was shown, and also the logo doesn't look very good. The logo just looks like a riff on DC, like DC Comics, and I'm like, Persona 4 remake's happening, which is pretty neat, although I don't know how I feel about them replacing all of the voice actors for it. Like, if it's still a good game at the end of the day, and, you know, if it's no hard feelings, but it really feels odd, because from what I'd seen on Blue Sky, the actress that played Chie and Yuri Lowenthal, who played Yosuke, were on board with coming back to reprise their roles, but apparently Atlas didn't want them back, so I kind of have my eyebrow raised at that, being like, that's really odd that they say no to that. For Troy Baker, I get it, to not have him reprise Kanji, because, you know, Troy Baker's like big time VA now, where he's super expensive to hire, versus how he was back in the PS2 era when he originally voiced Kanji for Persona 4. So, I don't know, but need to see more of that game, need to see more of P6 to gain opinions on that. What else was there? There were some indie games that looked really cool. Tenebris Somina finally has a release window of October this year, which I'm pretty fucking hyped for. Because for those that don't know, Tenebris Somina is a game I actually featured on one of my demo days. It's a horror game that's a point-and-click adventure survival horror game that's got live action cutscenes with real prosthetics and makeup used for the monsters. Oh my god, I'm so hyped for that one. That's actually that could be a real highlight game for me, genuinely. The Wholesome Direct was also one that had some good announcements. In particular, I am very excited that Fields of Mystria is finally going to be getting its 1.0 release this August. August 5th, I believe, was the date. And, you know, y'all know Mystria. I love Mystria to death. It's been a wonderful little adventure that I've occasionally binged a whole bunch on. And it's been like, Jesus, around 2 years since that game came out in early access. So to finally get to play that again in full, that'll be exciting, because we'll finally get to marry our romance characters of choice, which means I'll get to marry Valen, which I'm really happy about. We got some more updates on what was it? Grave Seasons. So that's really good. just kind of some updates on how the narrative works and the romance options about how you're not going to be romancing every villager, but due to the amount of characters there is a chance that you'll have a romance with the killer. Because if you don't know, Grave Seasons has it to where the character that ends up being the killer is random. So the narrative designers were essentially talking about how they balanced the options to be like, oh, how do we balance out things to where you should be caring about who might die next, and making sure that you actually care enough to go away from your farm stuff to help out the village and be involved in that. So that's really interesting to see. So just more stuff to get me excited for Grave Seasons. We finally have a release date for Castlevania Belmont's Curse. That was really hype, and added to that, they decided to, or not they, but we got to see some key art done by Terada for Castlevania Belmont's Curse, and I need that fucking thing as some kind of desktop wallpaper. It is baller as fuck. We were unfortunately given the news that it is not Sonia Belmont that we all thought it was, who the main character is. Instead, the main character is named Rose Belmont. So, oh well. But the game looks cool, still made by the people that made Dead Cells, and that's really nice to see. It's just gonna... I have some faith that the game might be good. Like, if it's helmed by developers that genuinely do care about the franchise that they're working on, considering that these are developers that worked on the Castlevania DLC for Dead Cells, which is pretty damn good, I have faith that it will work out. And if it doesn't, there's still that DLC that came up for Blasphemous 2, which I haven't played yet, but I don't know, maybe that'll convince me. What else was there? Nothing for the new Bloodstained game, which, I mean, yeah. I was making a joke about it before Summer Games Fest happened about, like, how hilarious would it be for one showcase to have Bloodstained and another to have Castlevania, and it's like breaking up the fight at a party where two people there have really big beef with each other, because Bloodstained is Koji Igarashi, and Igarashi was on Castlevania for the longest time. So I just think that's really funny. Like, it would have been, I just thought it would be really funny, but oh well. Like, we'll just have to wait on any more news for that. What else was there? I know Jeff Keighley had the Saw puppet on stage, and again, I didn't really watch the... Did I watch the... No, I didn't watch the presentation live. I was kind of catching the Cliff Notes after, I think. And I'm glad I did that, frankly, because it really did just sound like not too much in there was that interesting. I know Tifa's getting added into Street Fighter 6, which I believe people were really hyped for from what I'd seen. And there's some general hype around the final game of the Final Fantasy VII Remake trilogy. I've stopped really bothering with that. No, not... Trying to remember what else. I know there's some other ones that happened. What else was announced? I don't know. I'm having trouble remembering. Wolf Among Us 2. That's interesting. Wolf Among Us is popular for a lot of people. I've not played it myself because Telltale Games or games like the Telltale games, like your Dispatch and what have you, are games that I find more fun to watch than play for me. So I'll probably just watch someone play that if I'm gonna be honest. There's that new Monster Hunter Worlds DLC, Wilds, and someday I'll play Wilds. I just haven't gotten around to it. Blood of the Dawnwalker looked pretty fun. This 1666 Amsterdam game looked really fun. You kind of have this combat where you're playing as a witch, and it looked really, really cool in parts, so maybe that. People are hyped about new Guild Wars 3, which, I mean, that's pretty fun. I, believe it or not, I actually played Guild Wars 2 a bunch back in the day. Back when it wasn't free to play, I believe. It was like the $60 and then you're good deal. But I haven't picked it up since. I probably need to find my email stuff and accounts to get it all ready, but I don't even have the expansions, so oh well. Virtua Fighter, made by the Yakuza studio. That studio is in some hot fucking water, especially after the Stranger Than Life, or the new fucking game they're working on where they've got Tupac there. And, you know, if you've followed the game's press at all, you know how people are not happy about that at all. Like how they claim to have gotten permission from Tupac's estate, but the estate is really just like a major company CEO because his family is not involved, and Tupac's half-sister is trying to sue that company to get, you know, to get rights back and everything. And it's this horrible legal mess where they're essentially just saying like the estate's not even under Tupac's family name at all. So it's pretty fucked up that RGG's doing that. And yeah, it sucks because I love Yakuza to death, but RGG has just fucking tanked their reputation horrifically. So I'm not gonna get I'm not gonna get Virtua Fighter, and you can bet I'm not gonna get Stranger Than Life or whatever their new game is. I just no. I after the shit they pulled in the Yakuza, like the Yakuza 3 remake, that was already a pretty bad red flag. But then this, with just like completely disregarding the family's wants, just put Tupac there. That's disgusting. That's disgusting, and I don't want anything associated. I don't want to be associated with that game, so fuck no. As much as I love Yakuza, I do not want that. Stranger Than Heaven, that's what it's called. Oh, Gen Atlas. Fumito Ueda's newest game. If you don't know who he is, he and his team were the people behind Shadow of the Colossus and Ico. Now, it's a sci-fi game where you're essentially controlling a giant robot as you're going through a desolate landscape. And I was about to say wasteland and landscape together. And I mean, consider me cautiously excited about it because I adore Shadow of the Colossus a bunch. Like, I have that game's PS4 copy, and I have a Shadow of the Colossus tattoo on my back, so I've got some level of investment in that. Alien Isolation 2, that looked fun. Alien Isolation, from what I hear, is a really good game, so a second one's always nice to hear about. A new Cuphead sequel, and apparently... Okay, so this is going to be a platform shooter in an 8-bit style. Apparently the way that this Cuphead sequel is being made is that it could actually work on either the Sega Genesis or the Sega Master System, something like that. And that was making people freak the fuck out because it's like, that's not really heard of very often, so that's pretty neat to see. And the big one that me and a lot of other people were really glad to hear about, even though we've already pretty much known about its existence, was Resident Evil Code Veronica finally getting the remake treatment. Because I don't really know off the top of my head where I could play Veronica, and honestly, from what I hear, original Code Veronica is kind of a mess to play and go through, so I think instead of playing that, I will just go for the remake. I'd rather do that. Let's see, what else is there? I mean, that's kind of it. If I looked through the events at large, there would likely be a lot of announcements that I'd be interested in, but as it stands, those are the ones that I remember, and those are the ones that I believe, from Summer Games Fest at least, were the most memorable and stand out to me. But feel free to point out anything else, and I can likely reply to it because, you know, full-time job and stuff means sometimes information just doesn't retain fully. I've got other stuff on my brain. But what's fresh on my brain is the Nintendo Direct that happened, which I'm pretty excited about because there were some pretty nice announcements there. But let's get into the game first before I continue on that line of logic. Will it pop up? There we go. Before I go on to the Nintendo Direct, I'll wrap up. I'll summarize what we did last time here. So last time we were playing Esoteric Ebb, we had found out about the hag that apparently was set to be at the tea shop before it exploded. And we found out through her that she knew the elf, and that the elf was apparently playing a multi-level agent for multiple political parties and was set to meet with the Free Striders before the tea shop exploded. And Lisa happened to be late for that meeting and, you know, ran the other direction when the tea shop exploded and took her house with her into the underground underneath the tavern. We had some conversations with her, and we also learned about divining magic. So, yeah, we did all that. We also had met the tea shop owner. That's how we found out about the hag. And the tea shop owner, turns out, was a smuggler for the Free Striders. The Free Striders were kind of acting as he was acting as a middleman for the Free Striders to smuggle stuff into the city, and we got a lot of stuff out of that. We got a useless warhammer. We got a pair of gauntlets that's supposed to be really good for strength. We drank a potion of transure gender, but apparently all the potions were expired. So there was that. And then we also found out that the Asgalists were all meeting there and everything. And that's the most of what I remember from last time. So yeah. And we still have a lot of characters we have yet to meet. But we at least got more information that the Necklace of Fireballs was not used by the hag. It was used by somebody else, and she just happened to be in the area. The hag leans over her cauldron. Back for more questions? So I guess to go on to the Nintendo Direct, what has me hyped about it is just that Nintendo Direct was chunky. It was like a 50-minute Direct, and thankfully I was able to watch it live because due to my pinched nerve, I was not going into work today. I would not have been able to do a whole lot of helping with my inability to bend myself over to pick things up or lift heavy things. So I've spent the day recuperating by putting ice on my shoulder constantly and taking medicine to help it out, which has helped a lot. I'm feeling a lot better than I did yesterday, although tilting my head up and down still hurts. So, and turning my head side to side isn't much better. So, oh well. So the Nintendo Direct, the new Rhythm Heaven game is coming out, which not my thing personally, but excited for people that are really anticipating it. And this list is not the exhaustive list of everything announced. It's just what I could fit from my memory on this piece of paper. And the second part on this piece of paper being Dragon's Dogma 2 Dark Arisen. Now, I know about the really big issues that Dragon's Dogma 2 had when it came out. I didn't get it because I wanted to wait to at the very least, like, let the game fester for a little bit. And I'm glad I did because apparently that game's not very fun. I don't know about the combat or everything, but there's just a lot of inconvenient things that the players have to go through. Like, I think it had something akin to, like, you bought fast travel stones with your IRL money, like something like that, and just other little inconveniences that made people really sour on the game. So now they're doing Dark Arisen, a Dark Arisen version of the game, which hopefully should fix a lot of those problems. We got more of an update on Orbitals, which is that co-op game that has a very 1980s anime aesthetic, which looked very cute. Don't know if I would get it myself, because y'all know me, I'm not a multiplayer guy, but that was a really nice little showing. And actually, speaking of multiplayer, I saw a lot of people hyped about this game called Big Walk, or the Big Walk, where you're like these bipedal bird people, and you're just going across the landscape, and you're trying to communicate with each other. Looked fun for people that like those kind of games, and it'll be out on PC, I think, so there's that option. Most of these games being available on Switch 1 as well, but Switch 2 is obviously highlighted here. We got a One Piece cooking game, which I was actually seeing some hype for people in the comments, which, I mean, fun, not for me. Honestly, I'm not really sure if I'll ever get a One Piece game, but like, despite liking One Piece, I don't think I would ever get any of the games because I don't really know if the games are any good. Like, I hear some of the better One Piece games are just okay at best, so yeah, it doesn't really encourage me to want to get any of them. So yeah, but One Piece cooking game. A free update for Pokopia, which I know got a lot of people excited because Pokopia apparently became like one of the Switch system seller games alongside Donkey Kong Bonanza. Like, a lot of people really like that game, and a free update's apparently coming out that leads into the expansion pass they're doing, where that game will just get more and more stuff, which is really funny because this essentially proves that Animal Crossing has been left by the wayside. That Animal Crossing, by and large, with any updates that could happen in the future, are just dead and buried. So, oh well to that. Speaking of Donkey Kong, apparently there's like a limited thing for Bonanza to have fun, like, little challenges that you could do. I wasn't really fully paying attention to that, but, you know, more stuff for the DK fans. And then out of left field, another announcement that really was like, huh? Was a Jujutsu Kaisen Survivors roguelike game made by the Vampire Survivors people. Because, like, when the announcer was like, from the creators of Vampire Survivor, I thought, oh, are they going to be putting Vampire Crawlers on the Switch? God damn it. Oh. Which would make sense, because Vampire Survivor is a massive success, and Crawlers came out a little while ago, so I thought, oh, maybe it's going to be announced for Switch or something. Nope, it's a Jujutsu Kaisen Survivor game, which I'm like, huh. Also, ad break coming up in 5 minutes, heads up. And then Devil May Cry 5 for Switch. I already have everything I want from Devil May Cry 5, so no real rush on wanting to get that. Cool, though, for people that own Nintendo consoles, because, let's see, there's 1 through 3 I know are available. I don't know if 4 is. And I don't know if the reboot will be. Like DMC Devil May Cry with Dante. But if that happens, I mean, Devil May Cry on Nintendo. Neato. And now, this was one of the announcements that at first made me go like, oh, that's neat, but then led into a news announcement that made me go like, oh, like full on pay attention. So a Vanillaware game by the name of Muramasa Revenant Blades got announced. And it's one of Vanillaware's oldest titles, I think. And this got people excited because it's more Vanillaware on Nintendo, but then it was shown that Muramasa is on Steam for wishlist. And that is massive because, as I said in my Unicorn Overlord playthrough, no Vanillaware game has been put on PC ever outside of Sailing the Seven Seas for it. So that could mean we get more Vanillaware games on PC. We could get 13 Sentinels and Unicorn Overlord on Steam. And that would be nice because, as I said in my playthrough, that game feels perfect for keyboard and mouse. So we could get that, which is really cool. So that's really fun. So that was just kind of like a point A led to a really good point B kind of thing. More Xenoblade games on Switch 2. Just kind of general upgrades of 1, 2, and 3. I really should get to those games at some point. but I've already got so many large RPGs I want to play. It's just going to be a bunch. So that's really fun. And then we got a new Xenoblade game announced for next year, which I know people will be excited for. Xenoblade's got a pretty dedicated fan base. And then we got an HD 2D announcement for a Final Fantasy game. And kind of in the same vein as Octopath Zero, it's like an offline single-player version of a mobile game. This one being Brave Exodus, I think, for Final Fantasy. Which, honestly, I hope this is a trend that can continue, because I imagine there's a lot of gacha mobile games that have been completely, like, turned offline and everything that could really have the strong potential to be a single-player RPG. Like, someday I actually do want to play Octopath Zero on stream for you all. I do want to do that. I want to carry my save progress over to my PlayStation 5 version and just play that with you all, because I did that with Octopath 2 and I had a lot of fun with it, so maybe someday, but again, too many games and so little time for me to do that. More info on that new Dragon Quest Monsters game that's featuring all of the marriage characters from Dragon Quest V, Bianca, Nina, or Nira, rather, not Nina, Nira, and Devola, I think, is the third one, who was added in the 5 remake on the DS. So that was pretty cool. We got that released in December. And then more Duskblood news, you know, FromSoft fans freaking out over that, and a closed beta test coming out for that this summer. Pretty exciting. More of that Splatoon single-player game. I'm not a Splatoon guy, but that's pretty fun news for them. Deltarune Chapter 5. Someday I'll play Deltarune, but not on stream, because I've seen how voracious the fan base can get at points, and I'm not sure if I want to touch that. not on stream. Someday, maybe if I just wait for until all of the chapters to be out, but that's not going to be for a while, I feel. Apparently an HD or a remaster of Tales of Eternia, which is one of the older 2D Tales games, which is interesting. So that's really fun. Because I like the Tales games, I just haven't played as many of them as I'd like, but I want to get on that if I can. But before I continue, the ads are actually about to start, so we're going to go into 3 minutes of ads and an hour of no pre-rolls after. And after that, I'll finish up my thoughts on the other Switch 2 announcements, and then we'll get back into it. So, yeah, BRB everybody. Hydrate, stretch, do whatever you need to do. And we're back. Thank you for your patience. All right. We only have a few things left to discuss, so just bear with me. I just also remembered another little announcement. Metaphor ReFantazio announced for Switch, which, that's exciting. I did, for the time that I played it on stream, since I did play it all the way through, I did enjoy my time with it. My misgivings with the story and some of the themes aside, I did enjoy the story for the most part, and I liked a lot of the characters, and the combat, was really fun, as always. It's Atlas turn-based combat. Those tend to be very fun. So for anybody that may just want to play that on Switch 2, that's possible now, so fun for that. And then we got a announcement for an entire Kingdom Hearts collection on Switch 2, which, nice. And apparently the cloud the cloud versions of the games on Switch 1 can transfer their saves to 2. So that's nice. That's nice that they included that idea, because I imagine people would want to have an actual ported version as opposed to a cloud version that's dependent on your Wi-Fi. And then the real surpriser, and this made me laugh, Kingdom Hearts 4 on the Switch 2. Well, Kingdom Hearts 4 getting announced in a Nintendo Direct versus literally every other conference, every other state of play that could have possibly hosted that trailer. Like, the trailer itself was fine, it was cool, but the fact that they announced it at a Nintendo Direct, was so hilarious to me because, like, there's just so many opportunities, and it just kind of felt like people just straight up saying, like, PlayStation, Mario just stole your franchise. Like, obviously not, because it's going to be on everything else, but a Nintendo Direct of all places. So that was pretty neat, and people are pretty excited for it. My excitement's a bit tempered because I didn't really like KH3 that much. So yeah, that's my stance on that. So cool announcement. But the final announcement that got me really excited, or no, the two final announcements I'll talk about that got me really excited. First was finally learning some more about Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave. Now, people make the jokes about more Fire Emblem Three Houses discourse. I don't know what fucking discourse they're talking about. I have no fucking clue what people are saying at all. Because, I mean, I understand that there's divisive opinions about Three Houses, but I didn't realize that there was discourse that was that prominent. And honestly, I don't really want to be involved in the discourse or know about it, because frankly, I got enough of that shit when I when I watched Ruby back in the day. Like, that fan base turned me off of ever looking into fan bases to a deeper extent. So, understandably, I'm kind of keeping my cards to my chest, as it were, with this one. But Fortune's Weave looks cool. More of the gameplay that I like in Fire Emblem, and I like a lot of the characters that they showed, and it just looks like a fun game coming out September 17th. So, yeah, I probably won't play that on stream either, because Fire Emblem is kind of a me-time kind of game, in the same way that Dragon Quest is a me-time franchise for me. So, yeah, that's the deal with that. And part of me kind of wonders now, with that game on the horizon, if we're going to be getting an influx of cosplay outfits that are going to be like those really cheapo quality ones. So we'll have to see on that front. But Fire Emblem, yay. And then the last announcement, the very last one that got me excited and hopeful for other things that'll come up. Ocarina of Time remake got confirmed. It's been rumored, and it's the 40th anniversary of the series, so it would make sense. And I think it's like the 30th anniversary of that game in particular. And I'm kind of liking that the art direction is not looking to copy anything one-to-one. It looks like it's going to be an entirely new look, as seen on Link's tunic when we see that teaser. And it's releasing this year, which, again, makes sense. It's 40th anniversary of the series. Why wouldn't they release it then? But the fact that we didn't get a specific day might mean that they are going to by they I mean Nintendo, are going to plan on doing would likely plan on doing some kind of Zelda Direct to feature the Ocarina of Time remake, but also feature the Zelda movie, along with potentially other ports that will come up down the line to, feature them and be like, hey, here's the other stuff we're doing with Zelda. So I know they also did announce a Splatoon Direct at some point for this year, but I'm fairly certain we're going to get something Zelda related in terms of major announcements or trailers. Because, again, 40th anniversary of one of their big franchises. Why wouldn't they capitalize on that timeline? So, yeah, and that's also got me hoping, praying that we get the Wii U HD ports of all of these beloved Zelda games, like Twilight Princess and Wind Waker, onto the Switch or Switch 2, because I adore Wind Waker so much. I literally can look to my immediate right and see all of the various Wind Waker related things that I've got on top of a small bookshelf. I adore Wind Waker a lot. I have a Wind Waker tattoo. So I'm hoping that maybe we could get some kind of Zelda Direct where they could just do a bunch of announcements and show some more Ocarina of Time remake stuff, and show something about the Zelda movie. I'm trying to think. For the Zelda movie, I'm not really going to have any expectations for it. I really am not. Until I see a trailer, I'm not going to say shit. And as for the teaser for Ocarina of Time, I like the look of it, but I understand from Blue Sky there are people that either love that it's happening or despise, well, not despise, but don't really care that it's happening or would prefer it not happen at all. And to that, I would say, like, opinions are opinions at the end of the day with that. I'm excited for it. I hope that maybe they could do some cool change-ups or maybe add in some things that they might not have gotten to do for the original game and the 3DS version that came out back in, oh god, 15 years ago. Ugh. But that's kind of the idea. Like, Penny Parker, Snaps Cube, put it best. It'd be nice to have a remake of Ocarina of Time that shakes shit up really foundationally with Ocarina of Time in terms of maybe redesigning a whole lot of things to make it not entirely one-to-one. Like, keep a lot of the familiar elements of it, like your temples, your villages, NPCs, and so forth, but add some shit into it. Do something special to make it separate itself from the original and the 3DS versions. You know, like, do something cool with it. And I'm kind of sensing that they might have done as such, considering the new design for Link's tunic. Like, it doesn't look like a carbon copy from the outset because Link has such a different look. So we'll just have to see. Later this year, we're supposedly getting more info on this remake. So, yeah, that's basically all I really have for the Nintendo Direct. It's just kind of hilarious because I was lamenting yesterday that I might not be able to watch this Direct live because I'd be at work at that point. But then my pinched nerve decided to kick me really badly to the point where I just knew I couldn't work today because if I'd tried, I would probably be facing some really bad back issues. So kind of like a monkey's paw situation where it's like, oh, I wish I could watch the Nintendo Direct live. Okay, you get to, but you're going to be experiencing some really bad back pain. And I'm like, oh, joy. So, yeah, but that's basically it. A lot of neat releases coming this year and next year. A lot of releases happening in September because nothing wants to compete with GTA. Like that, let that be the main takeaway. Watch the one game that has the balls to go against, like has the fucking stones, the iron gut to challenge GTA be the Ocarina of Time remake. Because I think GTA 6 is releasing in November. And, you know, it's Grand Theft Auto. We know that game's going to sell like crazy. I missed my recycling. We know that game's going to sell like crazy, and because it's going to sell like crazy and basically be the thing the gaming landscape talks about for the next decade, no other game is releasing in November because they don't want to compete with that. But I feel like if Ocarina of Time could do it, because I know people are also down on Rockstar, so who knows, maybe Ocarina could challenge that. Who knows? But that's basically everything. So overall, Summer Games Fest had some neat stuff. I'm not really, like, I'm trying to be optimistic on some of the stuff that I thought looked neat, but I also understand that the games industry is looking pretty fucked right now, especially since Crazy Taxi has generative AI used in it, and it looks like garbage, and I know a lot of Crazy Taxi fans are really disappointed. So the trajectory of the industry is looking not pleasant in a lot of ways, so it's good to at least find your silver linings where you can, and there were some silver linings announced in the indie sphere, and some silver linings in Nintendo, and some silver linings with the other companies that aren't like the massive publishers. So, yeah, that's everything. Good old 6ix9ine had some fun announcements. All right, so with that said, let's continue on with our talking to Lisa, the hag. Can you read my fortune? Of course. While it's not my main source of income, some on-demand divining helps fill the coffers quite nicely. Wait, what do you even spend money on? Do you even need money? What, you think I can conjure anything I want? I need ingredients, material costs. I'm doing a lot of arcane research on the side, you know. And it's expensive to rent land in the city. Hell, even outside the city. And Dancer gets real grumpy if I if I keep him tiny for too long. You feel the house shake ever so slightly as she says the word dancer. How much for the divination? Normally, the component costs of a divination is 100 crowns, so I charge upwards of 300. Too bad. I've seen witches charge upwards of 1,000. Material component costs for spells are fixed, to a certain point. That means most currencies that contain a certain amount of precious metal can be used directly for component costs, and are not affected by inflation or deflation. Up until the so-called material break. That's not too bad. Must be worse in Reeds. Heh. Another reason why the divination is much easier here in Norfolk. Back in Reeds, my only clientele were the filthy rich. Who else could afford that much in Gilling or doubloons? Here, any old farmer could scrape together a couple of 100 crowns. Well, maybe not any, but it's not exactly an extreme luxury. I could afford that. She chuckles and empties a pouch of coins on a nearby table. Don't worry, it's on the house. Oh! That's nice of her. She's not truly altruistic here. Oh, so she's got another motive on this besides, being nice. Because she is nice. God. Sorry, this pinched nerve. I've gotten fixed up today and it is helping, but Christ, it's kicking me in the ass. Just stretch it when I can. You could get one too, little buddy, if you please, she says and winks at Snow. No thanks, I'm good. But I can't wait to see what the cleric's fortune is. I kind of want to see it as well. A hag? Giving away fortunes for free? What have you gotten yourself into? That's very kind of you. The hag begins humming a shrill note. It causes you to seize. Your muscles, they freeze. Men seek pleasure. Fools seek gold. Vain dreams in mortal flesh are told. Her words enter your ears smoothly. The shack, it grows darker. Yet 'tis the old world stars with secrets deep. Stars, the occurrence of distant celestial bodies appearing upon the sky. If Anticipalian witnesses are to be believed, many old worlds had skies filled with thousands of these gleaming lights. That weave the fates while spirits sleep. She slams the table, and the coins fly into the air. As they do, they begin to float, slowly breaking apart into tiny chunks. The cost has been paid. What lies ahead? What paths unfold for those who seek the power of old? By claw and fang, by stone and fire, grant me the sight of his desire. On her last word, the broken floating coins evaporate before the hag. She lets out a high-pitched cackle. What a show. I've always loved that part. Anyway, you know how this works? No clue. Don't worry, it's pretty self-explanatory. She tosses out a glittering powder in the air. It illuminates several strings. Actual strings. Looks. Little dotting sparkles. Think of a single question you want to ask, and I'll see what Destiny has to say about it. But first, I'll just take a look at your... Strange. The hag frowns. That bad, huh? No, it's just... Most people do not have so many strings. Strings of joy. Strings of joy. Joy's strings. Usually I'd be able to read the outcome of one or two choices made within the next week or so. Of the average chap. But you have... Oh gods. You have thousands of strings. Each connecting to your body like tendrils of... Like a lot of tendrils. Is that bad? Am I dying? No, it's more like... I haven't read a cleric in a long while, but this is clearly... She stares wide-eyed at the strings before her in the air. This is a divination. This is a divine connection. You're blessed, buddy. In what way?
Have you experienced any esoteric events in the city lately?
Yes.
This might be why.
The haggling scoffs.
Not sure how good of an answer I'll be able to decipher when your destiny's all tangled and frizzy like this, but I will try. Have your question be something specific, like ask for the outcome of a goal or event or activity. The closer in time, the better the answer.
It is always a danger to play with fate. A true life is lived in the moment, divining only from your heart and those around you. Divination is only input. Do not fear to ask anything. Viewing strings will not harm you.
So, what do you want to ask Destiny, buddy?
If my destiny is messy, doesn't that mean I'm in trouble? Often, yes. But more than anything, it means your path has not been decided. It's not yet been decided. You have the power to choose. That is what it means.
Does this have to do with me falling into the river?
No. Your destiny has always been a knot. You know that in your soul.
What should I ask now? Maybe ask about why your destiny's all screwed up? But I don't know, I'm not the magic man here.
My question is... She leans in and turns her head.
Who should I pursue? Romantically?
Why is my destiny so messy?
I already know what I'm voting for in the election. I'm locking in on that fully.
Why is my destiny so messy?
Lisa closes her eyes and touches the strings in the air. They evaporate as she does. Some folk are born. Some folk are made. Some folk rise above until the day they fade. There is a reckoning to come, a prophecy of blood. You are engaged with fate, a violent struggle in the mud.
The world rumbles.
DC 99?
Death, death, death.
Your eyes see the hag standing before you, nothing but her mouth moving. The era has begun. The era has begun. The end has begun. The era has begun.
She clears her throat. Your vision returns. You are affected by something.
That's it. Bit of a weird one, but that is your fortune.
Great. Got it. That was cryptic.
Always is. As to the chaos of your strings, I will do some research. Really, it might simply be your biology. Some individuals are blessed, cursed with all kinds of esoteric might insight degeneracy.
Might insight degeneracy?
Who knows? You might just be a sorcerer yourself. Not too unlike us hags.
She cackles wildly whilst making some notes in a little notebook. You are no lowly sorcerer. This connection with your strings is made by your own hands. You were not born this way. Your great genius has simply attracted them along the way. The esoteric does not care for your ego. There are many cases where ego itself manifests as the most powerful force in existence. Powerful, yes, but also destructive. Destruction is but a tool. It can be wielded. It will be.
Can you make me a wand? She sighs. That wasn't a real offer, you know. But... Go on. But I can make an exception if you run an errand for me. I'm out of lingonberries, and if you were to get me some, I would gladly share a piece of my current brew to make you a temporary wand. Since you are so inclined into the occult now...
Blasphemy. As long as it is not a hexing wand, then it would be lovely to wield.
I will get you some lingonberries. Great. If you do so, I'll only need a handful, a dozen or so. Now the problem is, the Tolstad markets were pretty much out last time I checked, and they probably won't get resupplied properly until next week. There might be frozen lingon to find around the city, but I can't guarantee that. So don't worry, I don't expect you to find any, but if you do, you know where to find me.
Can't I go pick some fresh berries?
Sure, if you want to go try to head out into the closest deep woods, which should be Trollskogen, but that's a full day's trip.
Trollskogen, a small forest located to the west of Norvik. It is infamous for still having a small clan of green trolls living within its borders. Green troll. Standing only slightly taller than the average human, these trolls live among the moss and stone of Ascani woods. They are hunter-gatherers and seldom organize into anything resembling civilization. Though they mostly avoid humans since the conquest, they are known to both attack travelers and raid settlements near their territory.
Other than that, well, closest to here would be Upper Hollow Ridge.
Upper Hollow Ridge. The underground half-mountain jutting out close to the gravity flip, right underneath Norvik. It is the area connecting parts of the city below with the deeper undercoast.
I could find that. Where is it? It's below the city. It's below the below, cleric. Very dangerous. I do not recommend it. But if you do, there should be hidden pathways all over the place leading down there. I don't know any here in Tolstad tunnels, but I'm sure you could find one. Nod. Good luck. She cackles.
But wait, isn't this a quest?
Fetch.
So I can't mark it down as a quest or anything. The haggling looks around her. The bubbling cauldron is the only sound you hear for a few moments.
No, I feel this is more of a non-official thing, if that's all right with you.
You get it. If it's called a quest, then there's a bunch of city rules that go into it. But if she calls it a task and asks you to go But if she calls it a task and asks you to go pick some lingonberries if you have time, then it'll be a whole nother legal ballpark.
But do go find some lingonberries if you have the time.
What kind of work do you do for the Free Striders?
A little bit of everything. Bodyguard gigs, readings, locating lost objects, information gathering mostly. Sometimes they pay me to stand by and look intimidating. Hags have that effect on people, apparently,
she says with a grin. What kind of bodyguard gigs?
Oh, all kinds. Some of my early Free Strider work in Reed centered mainly on just following around certain key revolutionaries. One of them was Trade Prince Frederick Moonwatch, a real dumbass, got himself into trouble all the time.
Moonwatch, a famous family of revolutionaries in Reeds. They were one of the few powerful houses that managed to brand themselves as non-magocrats and were thus both spared and, in some senses, revered. Or in some sense. Moonwatch, the name of a high corporation in Tazen, reads, one of the largest industrial conglomerates across the coast.
His cousin Mary is worse, though. A real clown, especially after his books got so famous.
All Free Strider Nepo babies are assholes, I assume.
Unfortunately, I think you're quite right. Here in Norvik, my job usually involves guarding top-ranking agents in the palace, mostly. Quite boring. There was a time of excitement when your god died, 10 or 15 years of chaos, but that's mostly calmed down these days. Even this election isn't as rowdy as those days.
I wouldn't know. I was very young during those days.
Right. You're about 27, aren't you? Must have been interesting to grow up in such troublesome times.
Interesting is an interesting way to put it. She cackles. Readings?
Yes, fortune readings. In the past, the Free Striders used to be more interested in reading the room on various economic policies and deals. These days, they don't do it as much. I think they've realized magic isn't what it used to be. So these days, my fortune telling is a side hustle. I try to stick to only that. Folks see a magic hut with chicken legs and assume the lady inside can help them with all manner of things. But I'm no psychoanalyst. I just tell them how the strings align. And no, I don't offer blood bargains or esoteric solutions.
Psychoanalyst?
Yes, like that mind healer on Waterlane, the halfling. He visited a few times when I was stationed on top of the AR. Strange fellow. I like him.
Why not offer bargains? Sounds lucrative.
Too messy. A scorned woman comes to ask me to remove her unfaithful husband's balls. I do it because, honestly, why not? And all of a sudden, I'll have a ballless man screaming outside my door with the Earth Guard right behind him. And in most city-states, they have rules about bargains like that. So I can't even take away something from the lady most of the time. Otherwise, it'd be fun to do some Faustian shit.
Wait, does this imply like the legend of Faust somehow is in this world? But I like her. She's fun. I like her development and character. She's cool. So no customers down here, I assume.
Correct. It's very empty in the city below. Unless you count monsters. I had to slay a hook horror to clear out this cavern. Most young hook horrors are very cute, though. Maybe I should tame one of them. Could do for a great familiar. Anyway, I'm rambling.
Have you located anything cool? Some ancient artifact?
Not really. It's mostly lost keys. Although a while back, they used to bring me along on expeditions into the city below and have me locate a bunch of old cat or snail artifacts with fancy names like Hulk Initak and Riboracha. Riboracha. That was fun, but would you believe they never found a single one of those artifacts?
So you got paid for going around and telling them, nope, it's not here?
Yup, and boy did I get paid well.
She looks delightfully content. So you're a spy?
I like that.
She grins.
I like that title. The Free Striders tell me not to use it for obvious reasons. But yes, I like that.
It's all about the Free Striders. What's up with the chicken leg house?
Dancer? Dancer!
Right now?
It's his name. The hut is called Dancer. It was a gift from my mentor when I joined my first Mega Coven, but we've been buddies for longer than that. Ever since the Battle of Tazen.
The Battle of Tazen. The battle that determined the end of the Coast War on the 14th of Cronus, 481 AE. This was the day the Arcanists fell. Truly fell. And have not risen since.
Dancer has been with me through it all.
You were at the Battle of Tazen?
Yeah. Long time ago. When I traveled, Dancer stays the size of an acorn in my pocket. Very convenient. Then I'll pop him up in some rundown apartment block, unkempt park, or convenient cavern like this. Very easy, very affordable.
Yep, sturdy too. The walls shake.
Calm down, Dancer. It was a compliment.
She cackles.
Anyhow.
Can I have your spoon?
My spoon?
Yes.
You want this old wooden spoon?
Not hard.
This old wooden spoon that I use for my brewing. The one that has no special wondrous and or magical attributes at all.
I think you're underselling it, honestly. The hag sighs.
I won't stop you, but I'd prefer to keep it.
Great answer. That means please take it from me. I'm not going to ask if I can sleep here. That's all for now. All right. Holy shit. So it is now past in-game midnight. Talk to the cat. Up on the bookshelf, nestled between dusty tomes and jars of questionable origin, sits a familiar black cat. Sir Treban of the stones in the waters, in the flesh.
Oh yeah, we met this cat earlier.
The hag stirs her cauldron nearby, humming something off-key. Is that your cat?
What? Oh, him.
She waves her spoon dismissively, splattering something green on the floor.
He's not mine. I'm his. According to him, anyway.
The cat's ear twitches in acknowledgement. She gets it. You seeing this? This cat smell?
I do.
Aren't you gonna pet him?
I can't reach up there.
Oh. The cat's whiskers twitch. It cares not of anything. Nice place you've got here, Sir Treban. The cat does not deign to respond.
He thinks it's beneath him, Lisa offers. But he won't leave, so...
A soft hiss from the bookshelf. Attempt to pet? You reach up towards the shelf. On your tippy toes. Sir Treban watches your hand approach with narrowed eyes. Withdraw your hand. The cat looks almost disappointed. Pet him anyway? He allows it. Barely. A low rumble emerges from his chest. Deep purring.
He's sure taking a liking to you, Lisa mutters. What'd you do? Persuade him with speak with animals?
That's exactly what I did. The hag ignores you and keeps working on her brew. I'll leave you to your shelf sitting. The cat does not acknowledge your departure. Tiny skulls without mouths. The potion looks actually drinkable, like consumer grade. I'm not taking her potions and skulls. We are gonna go though, because in-game midnight. Oh, we also encountered this water elemental that's trying to make me buy land. Okay, so, oh, that's where this door led. Ah, I see. Cool. Good to know. All right, well, it's in-game midnight. In order to continue down the city below, I have to get a red gemstone to slot into the eye socket of a lion statue. So we kind of have to hold off. Actually, I'm kind of curious about something. Hold on. F5. I'm curious about something. Wisdom, stand very still. You see a strange glowing torch a bit further down the hallway. Strange. Something is wrong here. Yeah, we encountered this. It's a gelatinous cube that's just been sitting in here, and it's got all this shit decomposing in it. Careful. Real careful. Cleric? Meek? Feel bad here. Very bad. Hold on, Snell. I need you to do something. Right. Ominous. What do you mean, Meek? Something wrong. Meek not see, but Meek feel. Master, be careful. Are magical floating torches common? I feel like they are. They are. However, this is obviously not floating by itself. Look closer. This is ominous, isn't it? Yes, it is. Why is there a bunch of other stuff floating in the air too? That is true. You must look further. Closer. DC 13. There we go. You look down the hallway, real close. Then you look at the walls. And then the ground. Wait, why is there no dirt on the ground? There is absolutely no dust or grime or little rock pebbles on the ground here. Right in front of me. Oh. There's a bunch of floating stuff in the air in front of me. Stuff that looks like it's slowly being dissolved by some powerful agent. That is a bad sign. In fact, it really sounds like a perfect straight line, after which the dungeon floor is clean. It's clearly a cube! A perfectly flat wall of perfectly translucent gel stands before you. The goblin stumbles backwards when he realizes what you're saying. Oh, gods! That was close. Huh. You look over to a glowing torch deep inside the gelatinous cube. Gelatinous cube, a mindless yet dangerous cubic ooze. They are near impossible to spot due to their translucent nature, and digest anything within their grasp with a horrendously acidic substance. They are common within dungeons, used as both guards and cleanup. Cube. Cube, slang for gelatinous cube. What's up with that? It's a magic item. A torch built to burn forever. Huh. Doesn't feel like that torch has something to do with this weird gelatinous cube. It does. Warmth. It is drawn to it. Not sure what you'd do about it, though. If you'd be able to reach it, maybe you'd find out more. But that'd require you to, go inside. Unless you were to locate magic mage hand, perhaps you could find a copy of it somewhere upstairs. Can I actually reach the torch? The cube will let you walk into it. However, it will clamp down on you quickly, so you need to move fast as you can before it decides to hold you tight. If you manage to move far enough while inside, you could reach it. We quick saved. Actually, no, let's full save. Resume. Let's do it. You grit your teeth. You rush head on into the wall of gel. It is letting you through with zero resistance. Anyone would be forgiven for just walking into this without noticing. Go, quick! If you're gonna do something dumb like this, you better move! Rush through the gel. You push yourself forward, and just seconds after being completely consumed, you feel the gel start to tighten. Just a bit further. Almost. Come on! You are almost at the torch. You see it before you. The translucent gel holding you back. Your hand just inches away from the torch. The skin melting. The pain, it's too great. Your body falters. DC 9, let's do it. Are you kidding me? No! You fight it, but the cube just keeps squeezing and covering you in that burning, devilish substance. Is too much. You cannot hear the goblin yelling beyond the gel. You are here. Just you. But you can. You always could. You always could. Oh, it's fun. There we go. The pain is nothing. You can't do this. Keep moving. 1 step. Grab the torch. With the torch in your hand, you feel the esoteric tingle. Turn off the torch. The click reverberates through the cube. Then it shudders. Oh, gods. Oh, God, it's getting mad. Look around. You see the gelatinous cube shake more violently for every passing second. It is searching for heat. Within the cube, you see what could only be described as cracks. It appears to be falling asunder. Flopping and jerking, the many pieces of the cube are flung across the chamber. Ah, this explains it. This is not a cube. Smaller pieces smashed against the wall of the chamber, causing a terrible tremor. Until, ultimately, each and every piece has escaped into the ventilation slits. You are covered in it. It burns. Get it off, quick! Clean yourself off. The goblin carefully steps up to you, looking around. Didn't expect that. Seriously, great job. You see the last pieces of goop slip down into the cracks near the walls. What actually happened here? Gelatinous cubes are able to unite for a short duration. However, if more than 2 were packed together, the combination would become unstable within seconds. What happened here was obvious. A multitude of cubes all came together to enjoy the endless heat coming from the rune torch. The heat, or perhaps due to some cosmological chance, the unity of cubes found an equilibrium, which was then disturbed once you turned off the heat source. The cubes sure dropped a lot of stuff around the place. Let's see if there's anything interesting. You hear excitement in his voice. He clears his throat. Related to the tea shop, that is. The goblin wants some loot. Who can blame him? There are pouches spread around the chamber. Perhaps magic items left behind by previous victims. Cool, loot. Alright, well, first off, we're gonna eat some of these mushrooms because we are hurting bad. Okay, there we go. Ooh, what's this? There's something in this pot. That being... docile stress... I'm sorry, what? A translucent, somewhat firm gelatinous cube. They used to be sold as toys or pets. Today, they're illegal. Probably because they can technically still dissolve human flesh, albeit very, very slowly. And we get wisdom out of that. Huh. Alright. The torch. A common magic item used by dwarves during mining and architectural operations. It's stuck in self-roaming mode since you don't know the passphrase. But hey, it lights the way. Okay, so it kind of works the same as dancing lights. And it gives me wisdom, which is nice. Alright. I think we're on day 3 in the game, so we still have a lot more to go. But we're going to head back up because we still have a lot of other things we need to check out. Like, I know the roller mill still has something that I could get with my dex rolls, but I just haven't gotten to that yet. And I know there's one other thing, and I think with Snell with me, I want to try this again. Alright, we're going to save again since we have gone through the cube. We're going to do this one more time, see if we can make it past the Viskin meeting. Because last... Oh. He's not here. The elf corpse lies motionless on the slab. Take a closer look. Moving it to the Lich House has caused some minor scuff marks, but nothing major. Right, the dead elf. There's a gentle repose cast on it. That's how it survived the journey in one piece. How did they move the corpse here? The so-called duck, Viskin and him performed a corpse retrieval. It was impressive. It was an impressive feat of magic to keep it intact, despite the short journey. What's this? Braces of Thievery. Lowers the DC of trifling checks by your proficiency. Oh. What is this? Oh, more incense. Open the tome. There are fine handwritten letters scattered across the pages. You read these symbols, but they are in Old Draconian Diminorian. De verbis draconum ars occulta. These words should translate to occult dragon speech. The author's name appears to be Kylum Diminori. The goblin lets out a tired sigh. Don't complain, Snell. This is important research. He shrugs. Fine, I'll take a breather. You do your research. Could I translate this? No. Not without weeks of study. You were not trained in Draconic at the towers. Do I have Comprehend Language? I should cast Comprehend Languages. I have that spell, I believe. So how about I go prep it, and then we'll go up here and check that. God, like, we're on day 3, and I feel like I've barely scratched the surface in a lot of spots in this game. Alright, prepare spells. We're gonna go... Comprehend Languages. Charm Person. Grease, Inflict Wounds. And then... Knock. Augury. And Crusader's Mantle. Let's do that. All right, cast. You mutter the words to yourself and carefully tap the frail paper. The words then pop into place, as they should. Begin reading the first passage. I wipe the sweat from my brow. The lair is hot. My companion was consumed by the lower beast in the first wave. I saw his soul yet still screaming at me as I stepped up to the auditorium. No, I would not allow myself a meek death. The book details a first-hand account of one of many lambs, the strongest of their tribes, who were sent to fight before the great green dragon, Tisreldanor, the last of the great dragons of Old Dominor to still reign at the time, in the early Divine Era. The author, Kylum, was one of the few to survive. He writes how he ended up in the good favors of the Queen of Tree after many years of servitude, but he never gave up his dream of killing each of them. This is fascinating. Keep reading. Time. Books consume time. You can always just skip to the end. That's usually where all the good stuff is. Read the full book. A long decade in those halls I spent in toil. I never relented, nor did I show truth. She saw something in me. Perhaps it was my bloodlust.
Kylan became the loyal first human of Tisreldanor, a type of manservant. He was by her side at all times, and he listened to her every word, documenting it. The book contains a long series of transcripts, seemingly directly from the ancient dragon herself. And it slowly reveals how the author learns not just the basic tongue of Draconic, which all the high humans spoke, but rather the deeper power behind those words. A human plaything the strings was assuming to them. To her, for none could ever dream of handling anything but the most shallow of songs. Until the day I understood. This is fascinating. This story is told to all who are taught magic, how the first Arcanist stole the knowledge from his dragon masters. But this you have not heard. Kylam de Minori listened to the ancient dragon until he understood. Dragons controlled strings not with words, but with their voices. Once that clicked, the book explains, he learned how to tap into the words of power, higher tier magic. Words of power? Skyrim? Fusroda? It goes on to, with incredible detail, explain exactly how his research went on during those years, how he managed to procure and transcribe dozens of previously dragon-only spells. He did not master all of them himself, but he did master some. And more importantly, he trained himself until he could cast a spell of Jor's Limits. Jor's Limit, the term used to describe why spells above 9th level are considered impossible to cast by mortal hands, at least before the Arcanists broke that limit. That would be what we call today a 9th level spell. It goes on for pages describing basic stuff about the Draconic Civil War, similar to things you've read in school. How all of Deminor fell in their raging. In that chaos, humans were starting to rebel. It was with great pleasure I turned on her. When I saw my great cousin, Doug Doolin Dim, appear with the sacred standard, yet he did not wield strength enough to break her. Thus the last of the great serpents fell to me. To my one word of power I learned just for her. Kill. Power word kill. The most famous of the power words. How interesting. Is this truly how it came to pass into human hands? Thus the era of the worm was faded, with man raised in its place. I, Calum of Diminori. My words shape worlds. Myself, Jor, is what I am become. The book ends with instructions on various draconic magical theory, most of which you already know. Elementary. However, look at the final cantrip on the page. Look at that. Mage Hand. Kylam's Mage Hand? You run your fingers over the script. Yes. This is the personal transcription of the spell Mage Hand by this mythical Kalam. Memorize the cantrip. What a masterpiece. Look at that scripture. To imagine that you are sharing in such glory. This is a much more sleek implementation of Mage Hand than any you've ever come by before. You could perform great feats with this. What? Reach for apples. Apples! Holy shit. This will let you steal shit from a distance, won't it? Yes, although it is not as subtle as you might imagine. If you get caught. Never in a million years. I was hoping I would learn a power word from this. You once tried, remember? Back in the library, you found a transcript. You tried to memorize it. They found you the next day on the ground, barely breathing, and your eyeballs had exploded. Oh, right, the eyeballs exploded. The Patriarch was kind enough to cast Restoration on you, but he was not happy about it. Restoration. A series of spells which cure various ailments. The most common are Lesser Restoration and Greater Restoration. They cure anything from blindness to tummy aches. Through their practical implementations from churches across the coast, most common health issues are eradicated. Lesser Restoration? A second-level abjuration spell. It removes one affliction upon a target. Depending on the severity of it, the spell can remove various birth defects, cripplings, blindness, deafness, as well as minor diseases. Any place of healing across the coast employs the use of this spell.
Also, ad break coming up in about 4.5 minutes. Heads up. My eyeballs exploded? What a day. Oh, right. I remember. Yeah, I shouldn't do that again. No, you should not. Fascinating. Well, that's cool. We learned... God damn it. Okay, so we were really close to Mage Hand, and I just... Damn it. All right, in that case, if we have Mage Hand, maybe the Roller Mill check will not be a bitch to do now. Since I'm not going to be going into there myself. All right. Roller Mill, Roller Mill. Keep roller, 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 roller mill. Keep roller, 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 roller mill. Actually, wait. Oh, we could go into the tea shop and get that item that we can't reach. I'm gonna drink some water real quick. Excuse me. Oh, man. Viscon Great Ginger Drink. What does this do? Refreshing beverage blessed by divinity. Why else would it burn so good? Grants a minor constitution increase for a week. Ooh, con boost. Hell yeah. A pair of iron and leather bracers marked by symbols of Ilim craftsmanship. They are extremely magical and grants the wearer an intense improvement to sleight of hand and thrift and trifling related activities. Okay, so put those on when I am near that. So put those on when I'm near the one near the roller mill to get the trifle check on whatever's there, or engage rather. All right. So we're going to go to the roller mill and check that, and then after that, let's see, it is now 1 a.m. in game. Also, shit, we're already almost at an hour and a half. Holy shit, that blew by. Wait, what if I hit knock on the potion seller? How much money have I got? 207? I can afford some stuff. As you approach, the scary red eyes appear through the smoke once more. You again? What do you want? Here's a contract. You what? You hear him fiddle with the paper beyond the door. Aye, Jolly Fidsberts the Third. Fibberts the Third. Them striders got you running cozies, brute. Real weak. Might as well be a cocksilver gobnobbin, I reckon. Yeah, brute. Brute? Yeah, cocknobbin. Right. Look, I'll be gabbing with your masters if you're getting at me. I get the play, I read the news, I read a lot of news. If it's good for me, I'll sign. If not, fuck off. Now buy something, will ya? Something more potent. Showing your impatience. God damn it. Potion of healing, mind expansion. I can't afford any of these. Oh well. And I can't use knock. Alright, let's get into the roller mill to do that check, and then that will be it on getting whatever's attached to the roller mill, and then we're going to go into our ad break. Oh shit, another fall. I forgot to turn on the mage hand. I completely forgot to turn on the mage hand. Well, the ad break's about to start anyway. So 3 minutes, then an hour of no pre-rolls. So hydrate, stretch, do whatever you need to do, and we'll be right back. And we're back. All right. Thank you for your patience. And now that I remembered that I have the mage hand, I forgot to fucking... There we go. All right. Let's try that again. seek support. Hold on. Where's the things? There they are. Son of a bitch, this roll is... Alright, well now that I know that apparently it's not... Okay, well... Neither really helped me. Worth a shot. Okay, well... didn't really do anything for me. Eat up a bunch of apples. Supreme healing, I'm saving that for another thing. Well, with that done, I guess since we can't get... Alright, so it's not a gemstone, it's another one of those cubes like I got earlier. So... I don't know where I'm supposed to find it. I kind of want to talk to the patroness of the Drunken Sphinx because I feel like she could have some insight regarding Lisa. But everything's pointing to me to go down, so maybe I should do that. At the very least, next in-game day, because I feel like a lot of important roles may happen. I just don't know how much further I can go. Behold. God damn it.
Cleric! Lovely to see you again. Anything I can help you with?
That's all. Alright, nothing new. And we already know everything to know about her, and I can't flirt with her because genuinely the only way I would ever be able to get the flirt off is to get a nat 20, and that would be really tough. All right. Do we go down now? Because it's day... yeah, we're in day 3, so we have 2 more days before the election. Actually, does the Earth Temple have anything for me? Enter. All right, the duck isn't here. Oh! Who's this? Jehane the Clanless. Or a halfling, one of many who lives in Norvik, especially after the Golden Line. She's a hard worker, one of few talents but much hardiness. Support her in her struggle against capital. You see a halfling girl standing by the shrine. She gives you a tired glance. Hey. Hey. She groans and rolls her eyes. Can you leave me alone? Look, the cleric just wants to ask some questions. We don't mean to impede you in any way. Yeah, well, you're still doing it. The impeding, so... bye. She is waiting for someone and wants you to leave. However, there is something else, heavy on her heart. It hurts. DC 9. You stand your ground before the halfling. Her angsty eye rolls hit you hard, but they are nothing for your nerves of steel. I refuse. Ugh, fine, stay. Or go. I don't care. Your goblin companion shrugs. Is there anything I can help you with? She shrugs. Can I have some crowns? Sure, how much? I don't know, 50 crowns? Okay. You hand it over. She looks a bit shocked. Oh. She pockets it instantly. Thanks. Don't buy drugs or alcohol, kid.
I'm an adult.
Oh.
Yeah.
She crosses her arms and strikes a stoic pose.
Look, it's going into the Ecorns, that's it. It's going into the Ecorns Fund. My family. I work double shifts at Jammery to support my cousins, since I'm here safe and they're not.
Jammery, a nickname for the jam factory on the north wall. It smells quite lovely when you walk past it. A darkness falls upon her face.
Safe from the Golden Horde.
The Golden Horde's invasion into western Ascani. It is quite horrific. 14 years ago. A conflict based on many geopolitical goals.
How much do you send them? Half my salary, so like 200 crowns a month.
They can't support themselves?
Of course not. The Fordnip Commonwealth had half of its territory stolen, and there's a massive embargo going on.
Oh, God.
And there's like a ton of evidence showing that those damn Celestials are forcing a bunch of other nations to block trade with us. So yeah, they need my help.
Sounds like a supply issue.
That's terrible. Basically, there were about 100,000 of my people displaced when the Golden Line was drawn. It got really bad. Even now, over 10 years later, it's still bad.
Because of the invasion.
Duh.
Do you send the money to support any kind of resistance?
That's...
Of course, it's common knowledge that most young halflings are more or less in active resistance against the Golden Horde.
No, of course not. That would be illegal.
So you're saying you're not supporting the resistance?
I would say that I am an active supporter of the independence of the Clanlands and the sovereign rule of halflings over the Fordnip Commonwealth. Duh.
Why do they invade your homeland?
They're insane. Genocidal conquerors? Like, have you seen any of them? They're creepy as all hells.
Well, the Commonwealth is a broken nation of a lazy people. They could not survive even the most basic of celestial trickery.
Fuck off, intelligence!
The Clanlands are in shambles due to an illegal subjugation of an annexation.
Yeah. Literally, they're like that because the fucking Celestials came in and attacked them.
They need all the support they can get. It's only right to speak up.
They're not exactly the most productive people on the
Dexterity? Shut the fuck up. They literally got attacked by Celestials and made into subservience put into subservience against their will. Shut up.
And they've always been isolationist. That's probably the main reason they invaded. There's a bunch of expensive amber sitting underneath the western Clanlands. If they're not going to mine it, somebody will.
And that was the thing that Celestial that we told to fuck off earlier was getting at, was that they were going to do some amber trading with the Free Striders. Because classic capitalism, if they've got something the capital wants, they'll go for it like tooth, nail, and spilled blood to get it. She gives you a tired look. Snell gives you a slightly intrigued look. Meek does not give you a look. You don't think he's even listening. I stand with my halfling neighbors.
We need all the help we can get. If you want to send money or talk about it in the press or anything, please do.
I will.
Thank you.
Who are you waiting for?
I'm not waiting for anyone.
So you're just hanging out here? At night? By yourself? She glares at you. Well?
I'm waiting for my boyfriend, okay? Just please leave. It's embarrassing.
Young love. Oh no, you should leave now. Okay, good. Now. Okay, good evening.
Oops.
Oops. All right. Can we enter here? This goes down into an old crypt, I think. All right. Is there anything else at night that we can do? You stare at the wondrous wood carving, a depiction of Earth at its greatest, a true man. All right. It's not the artist's intention. What do you think about the statue of my god? No. Ugh, no. Yeah, I don't want to be like, check out this statue here of the person that destroyed your people and culture and erased your language. Fucking hell. Like that, learning about Earth really pissed me off. It's like, ugh. It is nice that we can actually go against Earth in a lot of ways as far as the systems of belief are concerned. Okay, now, I don't know where the fuck I'm supposed to continue through the city below, because there's a lot of quests that are pointing down. But it is 1:30 in the in-game day, so we're just gonna go through this. Long day. I have a feeling tomorrow will be even longer. I'm heading home. See you tomorrow, cleric. You stand alone in the tower. Did we already examine all the books here? Once again. Okay, 90 minutes. Massively complicated bill of sales. Mentioning Lady Sageleaf. Probably not. Actually, we already read through all these. Bless! Oh, there's Bless here? Ooh. Bless is a good one. Where'd it go? Where are you? You bless yourself with divine guidance. For the duration, you add 1d4 to all ability checks. Oh, I should really prepare that. How's my experience looking? Okay, we can get pretty high still. You approach the archive once again. I should look at the top document, the one simply called Asgals. It's a large number of documents detailing members of the local Asgal movement. You spend an hour and a half looking through the quite creepy details into the lives of a handful of Asgal members. You read a few that appear relevant. Alphaz, exile, born in Vizcan on the 12th of Cronus 489 AE, 49 years old. Fourth son in the second branch of House Ban Embers, foreman of the Workers' Party, registered for citizenship in 489 AE. Smee, exile, born in Norvik on the 27th of Solmi 497 AE, 41 years old. Member of the Masonry Guild since 2 PE. Zerba, exile, born in Vizcan on the 2nd of Gorgoni, 510 AE, 28 years old. Seventh daughter in the third branch of House Ban Embers, registered for citizenship in 10 PE. Medissa, human, born in Norvik in 9 PE, 18 years old. No known guild affiliations. There is a list of over a dozen offenses on her record, and she has been arrested several times between the ages of 12 and 18. Whoa. It's terrible that the archives contain such information on these people. But having now read it, you do have more of an understanding of them all. Perhaps you can use it for good. You wonder, who keeps these records? Must be some freelance investigators hired by the city. Clerics do not perform dirty work like this. It has to be some filthy rogue. Don't call yourself filthy. That shit's just rude. A bit invasive, but this could be useful. It is horribly invasive. Quite. If you ever have the unfortunate fate to deal with Asgals again. Let's check out the short report entitled Tolstad Tea Shop Fire. It's a single page going over the official statement regarding the tea shop incident on the 21st of March. You spent 30 minutes looking through the report. There's some interesting details here, mostly things you've heard before. However, one detail that sticks out is that several people do mention a man in yellow leaving the scene. That most likely is not your culprit. However, if this person is avoiding authorities, then he could know something relevant. Interesting. Alright, I'm done here. I don't know what the consequences are of being up too late in the game. Maybe we get a point of exhaustion. You know, I'm kind of curious. What happens if we roll into the next day? Let's go Undercoast expansion efforts. It's a thick tome worth thick tome worth of accounts from explorers of the Undercoast. You spend 2 hours looking through the rambling journals. A journey through the gravity shift tunnels, a trek past the infamous gnome liches of perpetuity, surviving the depths of the yelling pits of loudness and the fungal valley right above it. These are all real places. Then it goes on for several chapters on the topics of traversing the Undercoast itself, along with the visits to the various enclaves and remote isles and the esoteric events that often change the landscape that far seawards. The knowledge held within might not help you directly, especially by just taking a quick look through it. But if you run into trouble below, some of these tips could save your life. Glance at the note sticking out the end. A short list is stuck to the last page. It contains a bunch of names you don't recognize. It says, Druidism meetups. They meet in various parks and eat some sort of snack. Not interesting, nor dangerous. Druidism, a political movement pushed mainly by groves of collective druids across the coast. They have divergent ideas, but primarily they focus on reverence for nature, primal spirits, and a focus on cultivating honorable relationships with the physical landscape and its inhabitants. The Undercoast sure is scary. Maybe that document mentioning Sageleaf, that could be interesting. It's a letter. It doesn't make any sense apart from mentioning something about Lady Miska Sageleaf. You spend an hour looking over the cryptic note to figure it out. It's written in official palace legalese. You don't understand much, except for the fact that the letter appears to contain some kind of instructions for the local Earthguard to allow Sageleaf to take over control of many of the facilities on Tolstad. It's dated for about 20 years ago, but it also clearly warns the Earthguard of not letting Sageleaf out of this area of confinement. Her people are not allowed to work in other parts of the city. It's as if they gave her a part of Tolstad as a prison. You're not sure how this will help, but it does feel like it could be helpful when dealing with the goblins in the future. I'm not sure if I was supposed to know this information, but now I do. She is one of many esoteric beings hiding inside the city, most likely. Keep an eye on her. I'm done here. Oh, this was a bad idea. Cleric. Get to know her better. You will flatter, you will falter. Before the steps of divinity, your manhood crumbles. Religion. Fuck. Maybe some other time. Hold on. Did we... Yeah, okay, so we get exhaustion points from being up too late. So that was a really bad idea. I'm not risking my, if my DCs were not affected by that, then I'd go for it, but not with that roll. Fuck no. 6 points of exhaustion that I can't fix up? Hell no. As you fall into the softness of the bedroll in this tiny tower, you feel tired. The kind of tired sleep won't fix. And poor drummer, trying to ship himself off into the unknown. Hopefully he'll fare better in some far-off city. Good move sending him away. And then there's the hag. Lisa is suspicious, but beyond her natural hagness, nothing seems to point in her direction. A true freestrider is what you are, working so hard for the revolution. You know well, a bright future awaits in this new Norvik. I don't want to be the resistance, not anymore. Sending those boys away was the smartest thing you could do for them. Don't worry, they'll all thank you in the end. Will you be able to complete this quest of yours? Below the below, that is where you must go. That is where you will find your answers. The answers within the strings. Well, the problem is I don't want to be a free strider, I'm an Asgalist. I think that might have been because I was handing out contracts to a bunch of people. All right, day 4. 2 days remaining. Oh, 2 days. 2 days till the election. You must finish this. Don't worry about it. You have a feeling you're going to finish this job on time, as per usual. Cleric. Let's quick save real quick. Get to know her better. You defeated the roper. You defeated a skeleton. That makes you a man. What other strength increasing things have I got on me? I've got the gauntlets. Puts me at a +2. Anything else for strength? That's a cool looking helmet. Oh, that's +1 to strength. Somehow that's a +2 versus the... Alright, I'll take it. All right. With that kind of strength boost. Okay. +3 to the DC. So this should hopefully do something. Fucking yes, it does. This woman served Earth. Why? A woman of her caliber. A great celestial of the West. Maybe she likes it here. No, she is clearly miserable. She is a sister to the cause. Ask her. Ask her why she is here. Raise your head. The angel's many eyes focus on you. The angel's many eyes focus on you as you open your mouth. Why do you remain here, serving a city of men? She stops her work. The floating papers begin to move out of the way. And the angel descends ever so slightly. It is... She grits her teeth and clenches fists. The first time you've seen her perform any kind of physical exertion. Holy shit. To miasto gdzie rozum sels. This city has lost its head. A city of fools. Your legs shake. You stand before a goddess. Stand your ground. Face her. Do not lower your head. The celestial faces you. You speak the truth. The city is lost. Her normally stone-faced expression is still there, but with a swirling mass of esoteric force where her eyes are supposed to be. Her telepathic voice rattles louder in your mind. A crackling boom. I am not a slave to this city. You feel as though the world is vibrating around you. The angel's halo slows. She is calmer now, as if releasing that angry remark was exactly what she had been waiting to do. But that is not an answer to your question. It's not an easy question to answer. She lifts her head, and the many eyes follow. Why do I remain here? She asks herself, yet in your mind as well. The darkness within her skull retracts as she waves her hand. Ask if you are so adamant. Where do you come from? I was crafted from molten blood. Upon the slain corpse of the Titan, Velokroski? How the fuck do you pronounce that? Velokroski. Willowkirsty. My sister spawned from the flood on the slope at the crossing. Oh, the closing. The closing. So she is. I am no Anticipalian. My crafting was made here, on this esoteric coast.
right as it all turned hellwards. At least 2 millennia ago then. It was force, I learned. So soon after my first light. She lapsed into more dated language when she recalls her birth. This is the life of a celestial. That is where I come from. The eternal battle for the holy mountain.
So you're kind of a veteran.
Ha! A short bark of laugh in your mind. She thinks you are being funny. A colorful storm dances within the halo in her skull. Those before me, they were the ones who actually arrived to this plane. They had not even a concept of time. Many mortals say my presence is alien. Older celestials are alien to me.
How'd you meet Earth?
She does not answer for quite some time. Ominous. At sea. I moved with a Ymean explorer at the time. On her airship.
Ymean explorer?
A somewhat human woman.
Perhaps a Japanese person. Elaborate.
I will not. I was an official gold dispatch. My job was to watch the Ymean's movements and report my findings while acting as an official witness. After only a year of travel, the ship went down in the ocean. They accidentally flew into a frozen pocket.
Oh.
I stayed near to watch the disaster, as was my duty, to report.
She is quiet for a beat.
20 crew members died in the impact, and the other 12 gathered on the wreck. They called out to me, pleading as they froze to death. I did not have authority to interfere, as was the Golden Horde's Foreign Affairs edict at the time. She obeyed. She followed orders. That is good.
No, it's not.
Horrible. Once the voices were silent, I left the blizzard behind, moving inland.
Why would you not attempt to save them?
I had orders.
Why listen to such bullshit orders?
She does not answer your burning question. Instead, her voice simply echoes in your mind. The storm raged. Before making it out of the pocket, I was struck by lightning.
How do you survive that?
Her many eyes land upon her right arm, held out opposite the floating shards on her left. That is why my wing broke. I fell into the depths. Even an angel cannot withstand nature's fury. That should have ended me. Yet the strings aligned. A fleet of humans were traveling across the rough Ascani waters.
You ran into the chosen people?
Chosen people. She repeats your words. She does not like that term. The human god saved me. That is how I met him. I did not join him in his struggle with the low creature of Dizike Zimie, your Ascani. Yet in time, I served.
What was Earth like?
You know. You have your tales.
I know the stories. I want to know what you thought of him.
You see many, many eyes gaze into yours. He was meek.
Yes? Ah, other meek. Sorry.
Kind. Reluctant. It was his weakness and his strength. Your god was a complicated man, cleric. He did terrible things. He performed great deeds. He was just a man.
Is that your actual view of him?
She considers your question for a few seconds. Yes. He built this city in his own image, for good and ill.
How long have you been here?
I served him for a minuscule time, approximately 49 years.
I'd say that's pretty long.
We view time in different lights, cleric. Remember that.
Why Darrow?
I am a senior member of the Earth Guard. The Patriarch set my assignment. I am following orders. I head Nicholas Darrow's defense, along with a handful of rotating guards. It is not a difficult appointment.
Must be boring.
I am not searching for excitement. Her many eyes look away, focusing on piles of documents scattered across the tower. I have nothing else to do. You're looking for meaning. Meaning. She looks back at you. Call it what you will. I am here for now. Why not go back to the Golden Horde? Do you believe them to be better? No, of course not, but I thought they were all Horde brutes. Brutes. She repeats the word. Their invasion of the Clanlands should be proof enough of that. The Horde consumes and subjugates. At times they fractionalize. That's the word, yeah. Fractionalize, splintering into deadly warbands. Usually by some divine mandate or plot, rather than similar motives to the civil wars of mortals. Her telepathic voice changes to an octave lower than before. I was a cog. Inside, I could not see the contraption. Outside, it is clear. They are a machine, built for a divine incursion. One ended millennia past. She's a damn Conchi? Didn't expect that. Conchi, a slang for conscientious objector. During the Coast War, they had a whole penal troop called the Conchi Corps, full of people who were charmed into performing war services. Can you imagine losing your freedom like that? Awful. You don't want to be a part of their war machine? This city is not a machine. It is a living, breathing thing. One that many dance or sing or run off a cliff. Or that may dance or sing or run off a cliff. There is something good about that. Freedom, baby. She prefers the Earthfolkian way of life. Who would not? Norvik is the greatest city on the coast. No, it's not, Strength. Do all Celestials look like you? No. Oh. Celestial creatures are amorphous spirits, built upon the energies of the positive. We shape in time. We form by purpose. Some of us fast, some of us slow. Some by physical means, some by spiritual. Celestials are even more diverse than their opposing devilish cousins. From unicorns to Koalts. Yeah, colts. From mighty Empyreans to cherubs of Old Demenor. Unicorns. An equine-like celestial with a magical horn on their forehead. They are known to frequent various forested areas, and are often mistaken for fae. Well, I think you're pretty, at least. Not a single one of her many, many rotating eyes meet your gaze. Aesthetic subjectivity was not in discussion, cleric. Please refrain from using such language. She attempts to stifle your manhood. It will not succeed. She is reiterating your What, did you just fluster an angel? Sorry, I got off topic. She nods her head. Yes, you did. No problem. She is silent for a moment, then gives you another calm nod. Else to ask? You have not inquired about assistance. Assistance? The tea shop. Oh, right, I forgot. You forgot about the tea shop. That's the only reason you're here. It's your job, man. Don't fuck up this paycheck, too. She descends slightly. You can almost look at her without bending your neck all the way back. This incident is to be investigated entirely of your own accord, cleric. I will not interfere. However, my duties include keeping watch over the ruins, Miasto Glebin, the city below. Are you entering the lower parts of Norvik? I've entered the dungeons below, yes. Good. If I find the time, I will assist you, cleric, in the Undercoast path. There has been interest in dealing with the dangers entering through that trail. It shall be dealt with once and for all. Glorious. Dangers? She stares at you with many eyes. What kind of dangers? Monsters. Even when explaining things she may feel are obvious, she has an immense amount of patience. She continues. Enemies of the state. The type that festers. They are many. You will need to be wary. Me see many bad things come from dungeon. Always bad thing. Angel is scary. This will help. All from dark and scared of burning light. Your scarf then whispers to you. Make include self in list.
I will meet you there. An angel will surely help out a lot.
At this rate, you'll have a full party in no time.
She will be a good support. You have a goddess on your side.
Is this on behalf of Darrow?
No, it is on my behalf.
The angel returns to her work. Hey! Etir will now join you in the Undercoast path as long as you do not go down there solo. Attempt to flirt.
Imposing ethereal.
Alright. She's in your party, kinda. DC 20. Alright, let's get our charisma up. Boop, and then let's take off these things. Oh, God. Sorry, this pinched nerve is still bugging me. Like, it's not a sharp pain like it was earlier this week, but it is sure as shit still, it aches something fierce. Ugh. Put that there. All right, I'm not getting any better with this than I already have, so let's quick save. Oh, God. All right. We already talked about this. All right. You called her pretty, you made her laugh. And there's our DC boosted. This woman, she's not the type to appreciate being... Oh man, 2026 is going to be a year for video games. I was talking earlier about it, Gamer. The Summer Games Fest stuff and the Nintendo Direct things. Yeah, a lot of exciting things. I'm glad to see Fire Emblem finally get a release date. It's good to see the Ocarina of Time remake be officially confirmed. And I mentioned it earlier, but I suspect that we're going to be getting some kind of Zelda Direct later this year. And yes, I did see the new Spyro game. I forgot to mention it. Spyro has a new game announced. Pretty cool. I have literally no history with Spyro, but I know people really adore those games, so it's nice to see that. It's nice to see Toys for Bob get to be able to do something different with an old franchise now. Also, hi Gamer, we are flirting with a angel. She's not the type to appreciate being talked at, nor is she one for flattery, obviously. It's not just cool, this is a miracle for us lifelong Spyro fans. I can imagine. I mean, I'd be feeling the same for, oh God. I'd be feeling the same if a franchise I loved was getting, imagine my shock when I learned that the author for the Slayer's light novels was making new light novels. Obviously, now we haven't heard any news about Volume 18, but hey, new series. Last Spyro game. Would that be in the PS2 era? By chance? Excuse me, I'm going to turn on my light. Am I correct? Was it the PS2 that the last game was on, or was it around the 360 PS3 era? Yes? Okay. So yeah, it has been probably over 20 years at that point. Now, I am of the mind that there are some series that do just have a conclusion, but I do understand that Spyro apparently could probably do with some new reinvigoration for a modern audience. It did have a PS3 and Wii version, though. Oh. She's alien to you and this place. This is going to be a bit of a challenge, but I can figure out what to say, right? I need a follow-up. You did give her some compliments, although they might not be appreciated as such. So now, regrettably, there's only one thing left to do. It's time to bust out the secret move. Oh no. Oh yes. It's time to be genuine.
Look up at the angel. Her eyes stare at you, waiting for whatever words you let out next. Clear your throat. You hear the telepathic voice in your head. Cleric, I think you are very beautiful, and I would like to talk with you more. Beauty. The voice repeats the word halfway before coming to a stop in your mind. One by one, the rotating eyes begin to look away from you, focusing on the walls, ceiling, and the cluttered mess around the guard tower. Anything but you. You got her flustered again. Good or bad, you sure have an effect on her. Now, whatever you do, do not lose your confidence. You can think about it. I have understood you, Cleric. Her cold expression does not change, but the rotating halo of eyes begin to spin faster and faster. Either frustration or something else. Excitement? No, it couldn't be. Oh! However, there is work to be done. You are busy as well. That's true, but the halo comes to a stop. She is attempting to focus. Let us reconvene. We shall reconvene, Cleric. Reconvene? Wait, that means you're convening. We're convening? One of her many eyes turns back to you. We are convening. We're convening! Wonderful. Simply marvelous. You've got her right in your pouch of holding. After the election. Her eyes fall back on her papers. Focus on the tea shop, Cleric. That wasn't too bad, eh? Sometimes you just gotta take a risk like that. Put it all on the line. Women dig that. Jesus goose lording hells. That was intense. The contents of your stomach are pushing up. Keep it in, damn you. Now you can relax. Go do whatever you were doing before. Be glad. Be joyful. For you have risen to the occasion. Your father would be proud. Have a good day, Atir. We secured a date with an angel. Yeah, only Spyro content we've seen since then is a cameo on Skylanders. Yeah, I knew about the Skylanders cameo, and the PS1 remaster trilogy. And hopefully Toys for Bob can be able to do a lot more, because, weren't they doing Call of Duty-based stuff for a while with Activision, which I know a lot of people weren't the biggest fans of? Oh, hey, it's this guy. Yeah, we already learned a lot about Braxo's profile there. Hello again, Cleric. Can I help you? He's not exactly happy to speak with you, but he's happy to gain your favor. How does the city handle gender swapping? Oh, like mirror gender potions? There was a huge debate about that a couple of years ago, in fact. They did, but they're in indie now, so they have full creative control over making. Nice! Glad for them to go indie. Honestly, more companies really should go indie. It'd be better for them on a creative level. It's real bullshit about the kind of shit that happens with some businesses and with some publishers that do shit to their franchises like that. Like I mentioned the Gen AI shit with Crazy Taxi earlier, and I just cannot believe how badly Sega's dropped the ball. I mean, part of it is just moral panic, but from the legal perspective, it's almost entirely just a question of polymorphic identity invasion. Or evasion. Polymorphic identity evasion. It was the best option after the team got hit with the Microsoft buyout layoffs. Yeah, Microsoft can eat some. Like, I never in any capacity will ever forgive Microsoft and Xbox for all the shit they pull, especially after what they did to the devs of Hi-Fi Rush. Never fucking ever am I going to forgive them or trust them. They're never to be trusted in the first place, but that especially was a complete goddamn shin kick. Like, they just kicked us in the leg, kicked us in the shins like Blue from Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, left us hopping as they giggled and walked away like nothing happened. And they tried to play it off like nothing happened, because when they were questioned about why they did it, they just stammer over themselves like a kid caught with their hand in the cookie jar. It's like, why do you have chocolate all over your hands from what look like chocolate chips? I don't know. Like, make me pull my fucking hair out. Ugh. The illegal act of changing one's identity in order to circumvent governmental oversight, such as avoiding taxes, jail time, or other mandatory regulation.
Basically, it's illegal to make yourself a new person if you're a citizen of most civilized coast states.
That sounds like tyranny. He laughs.
That's one way to put it. Now, usually these days, it's not that big of an issue. Polymorph spells are expensive, and so are all the potion varieties.
Any company that lays off workers for the sake of greed can. I'm too nice of a guy to say it. They can eat cow shit. Yeah, you could say. If you're too nice to say it, I'll say it. They can eat cow shit. I hope all those shareholders that were hoping Game Pass could be able to line their pockets absolutely get served burgers full of cow shit. I'll say it. I hope they taste hay in their I hope that. What's another one? I hope a bird shits so hard on their windshield that it cracks it. I hope that they have to pay an extra premium on their next oil change. I hope that they stub their toe on every coffee table they ever encounter for the rest of their life. Because of course it's going to be about fucking corporate tax write-offs, like it usually has been whenever companies pull stupid moves like that. Like, remember the HBO Max Purge a while back that caused us to never be able to get a Batman Beyond movie? Same fucking problem. They have a bunch of these properties, but then they decide to just get rid of them so that they could start saving money on their tax write-offs. Pissing me off. Like I don't know the complete intricacies of everything because I am not an economist, so I don't know all the details. But the brass tacks is they had a bunch of projects that they would have to put money in, and because they were spending more money than they actually had, they just got rid of it all. And in Game Pass's situation, it's like, because people usually go to other platforms already to play the games that they're interested in, like, I have a PS5, I'm not going to be getting an Xbox. Most people tend to get stuff that's usually either for PS5 or PC or for Switch. Or Switch 2 now. And Xbox just goes like, well, shit, how do we need to get people to try our Game Pass stuff directly because people aren't buying shit on our consoles because our consoles fucking suck. So, yeah, they're be consumed by the Steam sales. Yeah. Speaking of the Steam sale, I gotta figure out. Actually, I have a question. Whenever a big game sale usually comes around via Steam or Nintendo or PlayStation or what have you, what's your maximum budget for that kind of thing? Like, what do you usually, or do you have a budget? Or do you just look for specific games and just wait for it to go on sale? Because for me, I usually set a budget of about $50, and then I just wait until the sale happens, and then I use that $50, give or take a buck or two, because, you know, sales tax, and then I just get what games I want with that 50. But then it comes to potion of Mask Femme. Easy, quick to use, permanent. Still expensive, but a couple of months rent expensive, Still expensive, but a couple of months rent expensive, not life fortune expensive. You wouldn't believe how many bad boys tried to escape jail time by sucking up their willies for a time. So the city stepped in and had a whole debate over it. Whole public outreach campaign and everything. In the end, they only made it mandatory to register if you used one. Oh, and they regulated which sources could sell them. Officially, at least. And there's some discussion around how to And there's some discussion around that too, of course. Should the government be able to spy on them? Should it be forced to have a permanent record regarding your original bodily existence or ancestry? Should a dwarf who really wanted to be a halfling for some reason be forced to have a mark on their official papers calling them a former dwarf until the end of their days? Or should we simply live and let live and allow people to shape whatever esoteric physical realities they want to exist in? I don't have a budget. I'll just wait for a good deal on games I really want, at least 50%. I might get games I want, but not as much as their super good deal. Okay, yeah. For me, it's like I usually set a budget of like $50 or so and spend already $100 or $200 on good deals this year. I've been very restrictive on my game buying myself because, as I've mentioned, I live on my own now. I have an apartment that I am renting for like $800 a month, and then I've got my electricity bill to pay on top of that, along with like gas being $4 a gallon and groceries. I basically only wait until sales now, unless the game I want is really something I'm interested in, like this one. I bought pretty much roughly around release because I knew I wanted to play this. Other times I'm just gonna probably wait until holidays or something, or if I'm given a gift card, stuff like that. Let's see. The government has to keep track. No, the city should not impose itself upon the liberties of its people. Their physical realities like myself. The city should not impose itself upon the liberties of its people. Sounding like a true free strider. Either way, it's an interesting question. Norvik views it in one way. Some states are more draconic. Some are more liberal. He grins. Anything else you wanted to ask? Yeah, I'll probably have to follow my game budget more as well since I'm living on my own. Yeah, living on your own puts a lot of what you're doing into perspective. Like, for instance, grocery shopping for me has also become more of a which store do I feel like going to in a particular, which store should I go to save myself some money. If you have an Aldi near you, go that route. Go that route for Aldi. I literally do not have too much to, Aldi has been a godsend for me because I've been able to get some pretty decent stuff there for pretty cheap prices. What would be a $50 or so purchase at one grocery store could be like a $35 to $40 purchase at Aldi. They can know where an Aldi is. Keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. Because Aldi's genuinely got some good stuff. The other thing that I'll keep in recommendation, though, is bring your own bags. One, to reduce the amount of plastic you're using, and two, because Aldi uses reusable bags or paper. They do not do plastic bags there. And also, keep a quarter on you, because whenever you go to an Aldi location, you have to use a quarter to unlock the carts to use them in the store. It's their way of encouraging people to not leave carts just errant around, because if you left a cart just in the middle of a driveway at an Aldi, you just lost a quarter. And you don't want to lose a quarter. Quarters are handy. So there you go. There's my advice about Aldi. Because Aldi genuinely does have some pretty decent products, because they have a lot of their own store, own brand, or at the very least partnered stores stuff. One thing that I really like to get from them when I have the craving for it are these $2 to $3 calzones that you can just throw in the microwave for about a minute and a half, or you air fry them. And they have a variety of flavors. I actually just tried the Philly cheesesteak one a little bit ago and the buffalo chicken one, and both were awesome. Also, ad break in 3 minutes, heads up. What does the law have to say about really powerful magic items? Like what? Generally speaking, magic items are classified under the same stuff as regular spells. That is, cantrip tier effects are free to use. Low tier magic, 1st to 3rd level, requires affiliations with certain groups or city licenses. There's obviously a gray zone since some magic items can't be easily aligned with a spell tier, but the city usually looks the other way for anything that doesn't actively disrupt the peace. Ask him the other stuff first, then segue into the necklace question. What about potions? Ah, yes, that's a great question. A potion is defined as any consumable object capable of granting a magical effect upon the consumer. However, they are technically magic items as well. However, I need to learn some basic cooking, so I'm not always going out for food. Yeah, okay. I'm going to recommend this. Look up recipes that you can do in batches that you can have throughout the week. One that I go for typically, some easy ones are look up recipes for enchiladas, look up recipes for any kind of curries as well. Having rice available to use in a rice cooker, have a rice cooker. I actually learned a little while ago from a recipe that you can make Mexican style rice in a rice cooker. Do that. It's a good idea. There's actually one recipe that I found for a breakfast item that's really handy. It's this 12, if you have a muffin tray, like a 12 muffin tray, you can make these little breakfast muffins that are like an egg bake, and they are absolutely handy. So just for general meal prep, whatever you're craving, just look up like chicken meal prep recipes or something along those lines. You'll see a lot of things there that'll be very handy, and they tend to also have the nutritional information there as well. So if you're looking to add more protein or add more fiber, maybe add in some more vegetables, or be able to have something that's customizable to where you can change one protein out for another, or add or remove vegetables, that's an option for you. Like, for instance, you're never going to catch me dead ever using olives in a recipe. I actually don't like olives. So when I look up recipes, I tend to avoid things that have olives in them. Like, just find stuff that's customizable and can be made in large quantities. That's my advice for that. Also, ad break is about to start, so we're going to go into 3 minutes of ads, hour of no pre-rolls after. So hydrate, stretch, do whatever you need to do, and we'll be right back. And we're back. Thank you for your patience. All right. So now we learn about how magic items are classified under the law. Unlike certain city-states, Norvik does have a list of approved potions. Stuff like Vorgini River Blood, or whatever it's called. Those non-alcoholic ales that make you more confident. It's hypocritical in a sense. In another, more economical sense, it's genius. In another more economical sense, it's genius. Norvik has become a home for mass production of potions over the last decade, ever since that list was made. Ever wonder why there's so many hags in Norvik? That's why. Economic incentives, baby. What about magical weapons? I mean, Norvik is pretty libertarian on the weapons front, at least compared to some cities around the coast. I know citizens can get licenses for magical family heirlooms. You know, my grandpa killed a troll with this axe and now it makes you bleed green and cuts down trees in a single chop type thing. Like I said, the city usually looks the other way, even if the law does say you're not allowed to wield any of the really wild shit. Do you have any magic items? Sure, got an ink pot that never runs out. Got some of those nifty papers that fly to whomever you think of when you toss it out of a window. Been thinking of splashing some crowns on a sending pebble, but man, those things are expensive. What about a necklace of fireballs? What can you tell me about that? Ah, a famous magic item. Or infamous. Just to be clear, he says, clearing his throat, I'm not in any way connected to the imp that started the Coast War. But man, did that guy stir some shit. Legendary shit. He used an NOF when he blew up that airship, you know, for the assassination of Princess Ilona that I'm sure you read about in school. Oh, NOF is what we in the business call necklace of... Oh, actually, no, let me reread that. Oh, NOF is what we in the business call necklace of fireballs. Lots of places and reads have specific laws regarding NOFs. Arcanists left a ton behind after the war. Whenever a cache is uncovered, you inevitably get a bunch of NOFs circulating the coast. How rare would a fully stocked NOF be? He laughs, letting out a slow and insidious sound. Very. I'm sure 1 or 2 9-beaded NOFs have circulated the coast in the past years. In the early Arcane era, I'm sure some wizards made fully stocked NOFs. But it's not very practical, is it? The mass-produced ones you'd find in artillery corps or flight bombers, they've usually got 3 to 6 beads. Cheaper to produce that way, from what I've heard. Have there been any cases of 9-beaded NOF being used? He looks away and thinks for a bit. I know NOFs were used in acts of terrorism in the wake of the Freestrider Rebellion, but I can't tell you a single documented case where a fully stocked NOF has been confirmed. It's not very practical, is it? The difference between 3 or 4 beads exploding and 9 is negligible. Human flesh and even iron, it'll melt either way. The size of the explosion won't increase with more beads.
Only the heat increases, unless you just desperately want to melt, I don't know, adamantine. No reason to trigger them all at the same time. What spell would a fully stocked NOF explosion be? 11th? Yeah, ridiculous number. The Arcanists sure did some wacky shit with spells over 9th back in the day. I saw this one guy once, right? He turned his brain into a library with a single spell. But don't ask me how I got invited to know. Don't ask me how I got that. Don't ask me how I got invited to that party. But boy, it was weird to watch. What laws does Norvik have about NOFs? None. They're not too common in Ascan. They're covered under the normal magic item clauses. They're strictly forbidden as high-tier magic. Even if, technically, he loves that word. The word tastes good to him. Technically, a NOF with a single bead attached would only act as a third-level spell, which is considered low-tier magic. Technically speaking, he says and smirks. Okay, good. Good question. Even better answers. What would the law say about liches in Norvik? He gives you a thoughtful leer. Liches, eh? Yeah, there's some history there. Obviously, before the Bone Purge, there used to be a handful of liches hired to manage undead production facilities. That was, what, 15 years ago? After that, the undead, including liches, are not allowed on Norvikian turf. But, just between you and me, there are still undead hanging around. Trust me.
He knows well of Viskin. Yeah, might be the case.
Possibly.
Citizen? Okay. That is fascinating to have this world think of the legal implications of having magic items of some caliber that could be used for law evasion and what have you. What a fascinating game. The duck? Better. He is off duty, but whatever duty that is, it's everlasting. The Iron Tin Can Nightman dude does not acknowledge your presence. All right. Nothing else I can say to him. All who pass are mine to keep. All right. Well, we asked Etir on a date. I don't think I'm going to get the Sphinx on it. I don't think I'll be able to ask the Sphinx on a date. One, because I don't want to fail that. We already failed that roll, so I don't think we're going to get it. Like, I don't think anything will activate that modifier unless I solve her riddle. We already talked to her. She just has more items for us to buy. Check something real quick. All right. I guess we can't get our bike. I mean, considering we aren't really going to travel in the city very much outside of it. He's over here again. All right. Well, I think we just go get Snell and then head down. There really is not much else we can do. Excuse me, this pinched nerve is really gonna be the death of me. This shit sucks. Good afternoon, cleric. The goblin gives you a questioning look. Ready to head out? A bit later than I usually get started, but yeah, I'm ready.
Snell joins your party. Cleric. Alright, that's all for now. Nothing new with her. Which one is to the city below? Tunnel to the river. Tunnel to the central Tolstad. Alright, well, we'll go by way of Viskin's area then. Nothing new with her? Nothing new with her. Do I have anything new for her since we've done a bit more exploring? Human. Alright, that's it. Bye. I mean, hey, we rizzed up an angel. I'd say that's good progress, if any. And also, learned a lot more about law stuff. A lot of talking instead of rolls, but we did also get this magic torch, which is cool. I do want to have the confrontation with Viskin with Snell in my party, because I feel like he could help. But yeah, now that I know that I can get exhaustion points, I am not making that mistake again. And I'm glad I could just reload into the guard tower. Inside this, there's a door inside this tunnel. This was what led to the... Okay, that led to here. All right. Oh, excuse me, stretching my arm. Oh, is there a thing to get? Hold on. Where was it? Was it... That's the riddle. This one. Capital Dominion. And so, here we are. At the end of a long line of divine tyrants and feudal lords. Feels like being at the end of history itself, taking a dive off into a chasm of hope. That's liberalism, baby. What is liberalism anyhow? A bunch of stuff. Personal freedom, the right to climb the ladder at the very, very, very real expense of others. Free trade is a part of it. Letting people and the companies they own spread their economic roots without big government stomping on them. Except they were going to team up with the fucking Golden Horde. Then you've got democracy, which is like the most liberal thing out of them all. Mainly because it allows people to actually pick and choose their leadership instead of it being determined by gods, spells, and steel, as is the historical precedent. I'm not a fan. Yeah, say that as much as you want. You're still living in a free strider world. Not that your thoughts have any real impact on the city. Unless you get back to writing, of course. So we're turning free strider no matter what. Basically, free striderism is the future. That much is clear. What you saw happen in that fancy room between Vera and her glowing guest, that's going to be the main conflict going forward. Not some scuffle with Asgal youth students or rigid theocratic bureaucrats grasping hold onto their mansions. No, the future obstacles are out there. As free striderism creeps across the coast, there will be a lot of powers ready to meet it. Both head on, but also in more sinister ways. As shown by the Golden Horde, they're clearly trying to co-opt the whole thing. The Golden Horde is a scourge upon the coast. They should not be affiliated with free striderism at all. Yeah, because they literally made an entire halfling clan subservient to them forcefully. Look, in an ideal world, yeah, that'd be swell. Reed's is in a precarious position, believe it or not. It'll all be too easy for the liberal, wondrous dream to collapse in on itself. With the enemies on all sides, within and without, you need to band together with your fellow free striders and fight back. Or, if that doesn't work, grab what you can while the grabbing's good, then jump out the window in a blaze of glory. That does sound like it could collapse at any second. And somehow, over these past 50-something years of crazy radical freestriderism, that just hasn't happened. You remember how freestriderism was born, right? Let's go over it again. It all goes back to the Arcanists, as everything tends to do. Most of their states were essentially built on aristocratic structures, feudal states turned magocratic. Wizards need esoteric educations, right? Who can afford such an education? A nobleman, that's who. It's all economics, all the way to the top. All the biggest Arcanist houses were all former nobles, after all. Bingo. So they spent the early Arcane era building up their power. House Prax, House Hagenshags, House Diminori, all led by men descending from long lines of royals. We even got a theocracy, the Shadow Lord, turning into another magocracy in the end. With all that magical might, despite reaching the pinnacle of esoteric knowledge towards the 2nd century of the era, they weren't shit before the industrialists. Oh? Don't get me wrong, magic is real neat. Cutting mountains in half, flipping them over, building cities on top of them, awesome. Infinite food, convenient. But you can only get so far with a top-down structure. Elaborate. Imagine you've got 20 people working under you. You assign them tasks to, transport your magically created bread to 1,000 hungry mouths around the city. You, alone, could probably organize that. 20 people ain't that much. But what if it wasn't 20 people feeding 1,000 people? What if it was 5,000 people making sure 100,000 people got fed their daily piece of fake bread? Middle managers. That's 2 words, and yeah, you're right. The point is, even the smartest, most glorious super genius wizard god king will eventually spread thin. With the crazy scale of modern society, and especially with infinite food, you can bet your ass that people start breeding like giant rabbits. The Arcanists just couldn't keep up. Divine era kingdoms never reached those levels, even with walking gods at the helms. So, the Arcanists did what they had to. They embraced the Industrial Revolution. The old aristocrats still held most of the power, but they got dragged kicking and screaming into a world where anyone could become a wizard. And more importantly, those nobodies could also become stinking rich. That's how you get the Necropolis manufactories, the ocean trade network, basically the entire built-in-a-factory way of life we enjoy today. So the factories, okay. So a bunch of noble wizards ended up taking up after they had taken over the Dragon Masters. And then they, in turn, started up this system of freestriderism and feudal state shit because they just duplicated the old structure, but with wizards instead of dragons. And then people started to, populate more greatly. And I'm guessing also the lording of powers over them caused the freestrider revolution because people were likely unfed and underhoused as well. And likely underpaid. Did the Industrial Revolution begin in Old Diminor? Nah, technically there's been mechanical industries on Jor since the Great War. That's how the orcs managed to join in against eldritch aberrations and divine beings. But our modern revolution sprouted when those same orcs rediscovered their roots. Blood City Bay used to be a scattered collection of states, but in the Divine Era, the warlords turned it into the thing we know today, which includes a shit ton of industry. But wouldn't that just lead to magocracy led by those with money? Sure, but as long as money flows towards merit, then you'll have a fair game going. Except you have people hoarding that wealth and also giving out very little wealth, which then causes people to not be able to afford shit. Capitalism is just toe-in-toe with fascism with strength on this. Infinite food sounds... go on. Right, the birth of freestriderism. So, early Arcane Era. This was a period when national borders didn't really exist yet. It was more of a pseudo-feudal thing going on. Royalty owning land and the serfs on it. So not so much folk belonging to nation states as we see it today. But those early magocrats still wanted centralized control, so they pushed to drive everyone into their cities. In that century of industrialization, literally millions of humans moved from scattered rural towns into one of the capitals of Old Dominor. Hell, they had humans from all around the coast moving. We're talking entire civilizations uprooted just to go live in the modern world of the Arcanists, to work in factories, to have cheap glowstones and running water, to live in peace, yes, but also to have actual personal freedoms. People could move between city-states for the most part. A man could rise above his station and make something out of himself, even if the top gigs were held by those in power. There's a reason we don't call it mago-feudalism or whatever. Most Arcanist states actually had a fair bit of liberalism growing. Even today, we still live and die by the city-state format the Arcanists set in stone. But then, it all went to shit. Obviously, this is an abridged version, but when the Coast War broke out at the end of the 300s, skip forward a few decades, suddenly you have to have documentation wherever you go. Citizenship became a curse or a blessing, depending on which one you had and when. Like most people just think about the Coast War as this huge apocalyptic event where 90% of humans died. But that didn't really happen until the real fighting in the 470s. It was 6 decades of paranoia, escalating tensions, local conflicts, proxy wars, and mago-industrial madness. The market didn't go to war. The invisible hand of the market would have preferred to live in peace. The invisible hand, a term coined by Eirik Smed, a prominent Arcane-era scholar from Vorgeni. It basically refers to forces of self-interest and competition that, when operating within a free market, unintentionally guide individual actions towards outcomes that benefit society as a whole. Good shit. I'm sure the war was very profitable for those industrialists. Free trade. The Free Striders made that declaration as a response to this period of isolationism, I assume. Exactly right. Slowly at first, and then quickly. The Arcanists stopped everyone from moving about. The cities that focused on necromancy even ran out of bodies to animate. Could you imagine? The entire system that let these fucking Arcanists sit on their thrones, and the hard-working capitalists that helped them build it, all of it, gone. Some people say it was a weakening magic that threw down those idiots. So literally a lot like the Great Depression. Ask the people who saw it in reads, the ones who survived. They'll tell you. The Arcanists lost because they assumed they alone were responsible for the greatness of Old Dominor, when in reality, it was all capitalism, baby. That's how Free Striderism was born. Yeah, in 481 AE, you got all the fall of Tazen as the final nail in the almost figurative coffin. Within a year, the ruins were covered in gold-yellow flags. Those heroic and oppressed industrialists had rallied the people to fight for universal suffrage. The rest is living history. They exchanged one set of corrupt leaders for another. Comparing capitalists to Arcanists is like comparing a hot stove to a fireball. One can be mishandled, sure. The other will leave you with third-degree burns all over your body. It's like not even comparable. So yeah, Great Depression by way of like a system completely broke in an economic sense, and then Free Striderisms came up and replaced them with their own ruling upper echelon, but that ruling upper echelon still has its own self-interest at heart. So maybe not exactly like the more like another Gilded Age. Yeah, that's the way to put it. It's like another Gilded Age. Just cook a nice meal and shut up. Point is, the invisible hand of the market is guiding us, and it'll keep guiding us towards a world that's a hell of a lot more liberal and a hell of a lot more prosperous. Just as long as you avoid falling into some Asgalist propaganda hole again.
This tale you have heard so many times.
A modern myth, as the old keep being stripped away. Freestriderism, an unstoppable force charging across the coast. You must arm yourself against the storm, quickly, before you are crushed between the waves.
Look, let's be real here. There are 100 different ideologies with 1,000 different interpretations and branches. Out of all of them, Reedsian Freestriderism is probably the most powerful at the moment. You shouldn't throw all your eggs in the proverbial bag of holding, but it certainly won't hurt to move a bit closer underneath that yellow banner. So if you've got all these forces pushing you in all kinds of directions, maybe try being a bit of an immovable object, one that's sitting squarely in the good graces of your new Reedsian overlords. Seriously, if even the apolitical boogeyman can agree to lean Freestrider, you really can't go wrong, can you? Tell me about Unstoppable Force.
Bear arms, fight against the forces of the world, until the end of time itself.
Alters ability score modifiers with weapons. Invisible hand. Everything is yours. You just gotta reach out and grab. Advantages on all trifle checks. I've not trifled once in this playthrough. Immovable object. A convenient cooperation, with no real downsides to it. Let those Freestrider impulses guide your purchasing decisions. Also add to your haggling discounts. Ooh, let's pick a feat. Yeah, you do that. Remember to think like a capitalist, which means choose whichever one works best for you. Immovable object. This will be a highly productive collaboration. Oh yes, as long as you stop it with that fence-sitting bullshit. Now go. Buy low, sell high.
Yeah, I didn't really like any of that, but that's how it goes, I guess.
And we leveled up. We're now level 5, and we can learn another 3rd level spell and another 2nd level. Hell yeah. And I'm guessing we have another ability score we can put this towards. Let's go Con. Alright, I also, with Asgal mentioned, I just remembered that I also should give the ink tooth Medusa in the apartments, and I think that's probably where I'll stop for now, since we are close to the 3-hour mark, and I would like to take something from my back. Just need to get to Water Lane. Fascinating stuff, and we did Risen Angel, so that's good. But yeah, like, that really truly is charisma in a nutshell, is that it is the fence sitter stat. Ooh, wait. If I have Mage Hand... You see a bird's nest nestled on the edge of a protruding stone tile. Got some eggs in it, and you spot something shiny below as well. It appears unguarded. Must be a gull's nest. Scary beasts, those gulls. But whoever made this nest isn't around, so... Could you imagine the goodies? Could be worth a climb to it. Worth a climb out.
With the cantrip Mage Hand, you could easily grab the contents of this nest from a comfortable distance.
Stop leaning over the edge. Obsidian amulet. Oh! Advantages against aberrations! Hell yeah. Also, I seem to have another thing here. What else do I need? Oh, this. Ruffled feather. Oh, this! Do this, then the Asgals, then we'll be done. Please don't glitch. So you let the bird go. Gave him his papers and everything. It was the right thing to do. Sure was. That was a fine outcome. Living up to the Freestrider ideal. Everyone should be able to come and go as they please. The free market is built upon the ability of the movers of goods, from merchants to sailors to dock workers, to be able to transfer themselves into situations of required labor. No, I wanted to let him go because he was in some hot shit and he needed to be out of town. Basic supply and demand. What about the social impact of... Who cares about that? Freedom of movement. It's literally the most fundamental policy of the Freestrider bloc. In the real old days, the only people with resources to travel would be the aristocrats of societies. In the real early days, that'd be the top dragon servants, the top slaves. Then, during the last few centuries, that changed. The average person suddenly got the ability to move. On a societal scale, sure, but also in a geographic scale, either. Each of the Arcanist splinters dealt with it in different ways. But in general, especially once the Coast War broke out for real, all the borders got real tight. A shoot-on-sight type policy wasn't uncommon. And that's shit. Real shit. Borders are bullshit. Real bullshit. Let's go over the facts here. The number one cause of starvation, poverty, and economically related suffering, related suffering is the general lack of prosperity. Historically, it's understandable why peasants and kings, or early Arcanists, didn't really get this, because they just didn't have any reference point. If things were always terrible, you wouldn't even know what good is, right? Then comes industry, mass production, both esoteric stuff, access to free food, healing services, teleportation, and the fundamentalists, textile factories, metal refining, and transportation. All of it giving way to an unprecedented amount of prosperity for everyone. It's like cheating in the economy. Everybody gets rich all of a sudden, even the old aristocrats. So then you have the question of nation states, of borders. You can make an argument that freedom of movement goes against certain ideals of nationalism, sure. You can't completely lock your own people away from others. You can't stay out of the global trade. You lose authoritarian touch. You lose that authoritarian touch. In return, you get a supra-magical economic boost. One that helps everyone. You know those Asgals that hate free striderism so much? This is the point where they all shut the fuck up and sit down. Because Asgalism didn't make anything better. Not anywhere near the degree that opening the markets did. And locking down your borders? Not allowing trade, people, labor, goods, and services to flow at the behest of the benevolent invisible hand? That's literally like arbitrarily making your people, all your people, objectively less wealthy. And probably a lot hungrier. Just for some dumb ego trip. Thus, immigration is fucking great. And anyone who disagrees is a fucking idiot. Wait, you have convinced... Okay, immigration's great, helps us fill out the ranks of the increasing growing Novikian industries. Immigration is balanced amounts is great, but too much it'll take strife and cultural clashes. Immigration is amazing, but only for Fulcarian reasons. We should help people in need by sharing our wealth. I think 3 is more like how Asgul's, and because people tend to immigrate to other places to find a better life for themselves, whether it be through work or wanting to find a grander stability or better stability than what their old life, would have likely been. So sharing our wealth. Ew, you make it sound so Asgalian. But yeah, I guess that's true too. You get cheap labor, they get to not be oppressed on the other side of the coast. It's a win-win situation. Well, also, immigration can also lead to people that will have ideas that can bring over, and they can end up contributing to the economy by being in positions as well. You share our wealth with them because they want to find a better life. So So anyway, letting Drummer leave, real swell move. Just straight up class act. But you could clearly learn a lot from that bird. He's got that infectious paranoia about him. Because the thing is immigration, people come over and they help the country by bringing their own expertise as well, And it sucks the way that immigrants end up being treated a lot of times. And anybody that has problems with immigrants can have a cow shit sandwich. And fuck ICE too. And ICE is included in that. Fuck ICE. I hope every single ICE agent gets a fucking stub toe. Stub toe and a slash tire
in Roblox, a slash tire in Roblox, and also that their toilets are permanently backed up. Oh shit, your stomach's upset. The bird. Yeah? The bird is a survivor. That is his legacy. More than that, he really had one hell of a way to handle himself. Ignoring the shitty escape attempt, you saw how he danced around your questions? Seriously, maybe it's a racial thing, but he read the room just as well as he recorded those voices. Honestly, both of those are damn true. Take any lessons you want from him. That bird's got a game. That bird's got game. And remember, immigration is good. Tell me about infectious paranoia. Be ready for anything. The world could fall apart at any second. The walls could implode. Your dreams shattered. When that happens, you get ready to run. Leave the city in a crate. Ship yourself to Haishi. Whatever it takes to get away from any of those pesky consequences. Oh, what's that? You invested you know what this is? This is literally the fucking monorail guy from The Simpsons. Oh, you sold a monorail and you had this whole thing where you just fooled an entire town? Well, time to take my suitcase full of money and get the fuck out on the next bus. But advantage on initiative rolls. I'm not in combat that much, though. Survival of the fittest. You live through it all. Advantage on death. Oh, wait, but that's good, too. Reading the room. You want to say the right thing, right? Make the right choice? Yeah, might help to have a quick glance around the room first. Advantage to behold checks. I'm ready to make a decision. I'm thinking either survival of the fittest or reading the room. Considering there's still some characters I have yet to get all the info on with Behold. But we're also going to go into the under... Death roll saving throws are pretty handy. But so's the Behold. Let's go Behold. Great, no excuses now. Time to understand people, so you can control them, like sheep. No, I wouldn't do that. I just want to learn more about them, I just want to learn more about the characters around me. Because I like doing that. I like learning about the characters. But I have to equip the feat is the thing. Highly competitive, but with a craving of validation. Just look at the way he dresses himself. And yeah, it's like, we only can have so many feats equipped to us at one time. This isn't like a tabletop game where we have feats that can go up to a certain amount. We can have 3, I think, in this game. All right, next is we're gonna go deliver that ink, and then that's where we'll stop for the night. Fascinating time, though. And we rizzed up an angel. I truly think that this game is really cool and does a lot of things really well, but there have been instances where I just feel like aspects of the writing could have used a bit more nuance, I feel. Or it could have maybe used a bit of a re-examination on some lines. How the fuck? What am I missing here? Alright, I guess just need me to check it. Okay. She's down there, I can't tell her about the rent. God damn it. Alright, Smee. Hey. As you enter the sweaty apartment with the ink cartridges in hand, you encounter a rock and a hard place. The rock being a red-faced dwarf, and the hard place being the unyielding stubbornness of a teenage girl. You'll ruin a decade's worth of goodwill! The dwarf slaps the newspaper page against his massive forehead. For what? The girl snatches it from the dwarf's hand. Show me a single thing that's false. I dare you. It's not true. It's not truth or falsehood that matters. It's the content, the message. It's... Vailala Helveten.
Via Helveten, the dwarf mutters to himself, noticing you approach.
Mr. Cityman.
I've got your special ink here. Great, thanks. She takes a step towards you and quickly grabs the set of ink cartridges. Look, Alphaz, the cleric just allowed us to reach the entire city. She holds up the paper to his rocky face. They need to hear this. I got access to the warehouse. It was pretty hard. I had to...
Do you know how much the palace would love to see an article like that? Do not put me in a position where I have to tell the foreman to denounce the chant.
For folk. I feel like I need to step in here.
Do you know?
The dwarf growls. He then takes a deep breath, rubbing his eyes.
I apologize. We're having an issue. I'm trying to... He mutters. Mr. Cityman, please enlighten us. What does the law say on criminal incitement, specifically in print media? It's a maze of rules, few of them well written.
Depends on who enforces. Give me a practical example.
As in, what if someone printed a newspaper calling for a violent uprising?
I'm sure they'd be fine with it.
He scoffs. You're sure about that?
Look, Alphaz, look at where we are. I'm in a closet with this goddamn esoteric mess of a machine blowing hot air up my ass. The city already guts us at every turn. The protests at the towers, your PPG problem. That bullshit with the Silkers Guild. They will never work with us. Now's our only chance. We have the people's attention. It's time to drill it into their heads that they have the power here.
You're missing the entire picture, girl. Girl. It's belittling to call her girl like that. Bah! He crosses his arms. You're correct. The people have the power here, and we will use that power responsibly by creating lasting, lawful change. If you keep writing about violent revolution, the average person will think you're crazy. And even worse, if you push for all of this other socio-relation crap.
Crap? What, is feminism also just an ignorant reworking of Asgard's ideals?
No, it's...
The dwarf takes a deep breath.
You know I am very much in favor of pressing down hierarchies, but to push such a threatening stance on the way people have lived for centuries, it's not wise.
It's not wise to tell women and oppressed minorities that they should have rights?
They have rights. We have universal suffrage. Norvik is the most egalitarian city on the coast. We spent decades working for that.
Universal suffrage, sure. But 9 out of 10 guild leaders and business owners are human men. Let me reread that. But 9 out of 10 guild leaders and business owners are human men. She taps her fingers to list off her talking points. Women earn lower salaries across all work sectors. Citizenship is withheld from other folk types on the basis of so-called monstrous traits. Halflings are constantly extradited to the Horde, while every major faction ignores their pleas. Mind control being used somehow as a legal tool of the state. And despite the outcalls, over and over again, none of the Forefolk have even begun to address any of our core demands. And don't even get me started on rights among MGIs, or the female bearded debacle of your refusal to stand by all of our... She taps her index finger against his chest with every word. Cross-folk attraction. Couples. Stare at them both.
We have toiled, Modissa, he muttered.
He mutters, still his voice weak and dry.
Decades of work, all to reach this point.
You'll throw it all away if you try to play their game.
You know the party's not behind even half of these ideals.
The party doesn't have vision. That's why we're not winning.
We have as many voters as the Three Striders. Potential for more.
You think the numbers matter? After all you've seen, they don't care.
We will make them care.
The dwarf takes a step back to catch his breath. All the other workers in the apartment just seem to go along as per usual.
This must be a common occurrence. Tell me what's going on.
An article. That's it.
She holds it up. It's a test page to see the article in action before putting it in the issue. Skim the article. We Built This City is the name. It's an emotional and moving page op about recent events and the future of the Workers' Party. The author weaves in arguments about city corruption with a call to action. A direct call for the workers of the city to not let the Free Striders corrupt Norvik into becoming another oppressive free city, where wealth is consolidated into the hands of the few while the many struggle to survive. Then it gives a list of what almost looks like demands on several wide-ranging important topics from the Golden Line and the Guild Union membership fees to social acceptance of cross-folk relations and more. It also contains a striking subtext about wealth being extracted from the city and sent east. It's a good message. It's what the city needs.
I agree. Too bad my captain over there doesn't agree. She gives a mocking laugh and glares at Alphaz. Come on, help me out here, will you?
What, you want me to cast a spell on him?
No! Gods, no. I mean, it wouldn't work, would it?
Not really, no. She mutters a swear under her breath. The Dwarven word for hells. You have dwarf blood. 3 DC wisdom. Figure out why she won't tone it down. She hates them. She hates how she's been pushed down by them all her life. She hates how powerless she feels all the time. Every day. Every time she walks down the street and someone looks at her funny. Every time someone asks when she's going to grow up and start a family instead of playing around in some Asgal's LARP outfit. You see it in her eyes. Yeah, she's been dealing with the horrible misogyny of the city that the Free Striders claim will be able to fix, but really they won't. It's just going to put more money in those that already have power, and poor get poorer and rich get richer. Hate and anger. Anger from endless systematic injustice.
What are you looking at? She says with a scoff.
It's your choice. You don't need this article, Medusa. The system is unfair, yes, but don't trust Alphaz to change it. Change it yourself. You're right on track. Keep it up. So she's calling for a violent uprising in her paper and along with the redistribution of wealth. Kind of using her anger to fuel it all. So we either tell her to keep up with it and then incite further that this article needs to be made as is, or we tell her to just kind of take over the Asgal party from Alphaz. At least that's what I'm reading out of this. Keep it up.
I know, but tell that to him.
Alphaz crosses his arms, looking to you both with intense stubbornness in his eyes. Medusa grunts something to herself and adjusts her uniform. You know Medusa is correct. You need to fight against oppression. Both of them are dumb. Just let them squabble. I agree with Medusa.
You do?
He does?
Don't blame you.
Well then, Mr. Cityman.
Alphaz puffs up his chest and stares up at you.
It appears I'll have to convince you as well how much of a mistake you're making.
You've got this, cleric. Be more stubborn. Literally a -1 DC. Unless I rolled a nat 1, quite literally. I've never seen a DC in the negatives before. He steps in front of you, his face rocky stone.
You are rock hard.
Phrasing, look down on him.
He looks at you. You look at him. You make him know. You are the king.
Alphonse,
Mr. Seaman,
you know you must let her do her thing.
Gah. He is sweating.
What are you two doing?
He
is grunting. The Asgal youth must be made free.
Ugh.
He groans and kneels before you.
Damn it!
Medusa is looking at you both like you're alien aberrations.
I know. It will be a massive pain in my arse, but I know.
He stands up and throws a stern gaze at Medusa.
Print your article, girl. Speak from your heart and make the whole city hear you.
She smiles.
A union of thoughts you held.
Thank you, Alphonse.
Yeah, thanks.
Alphonse goes over to his comrades to begin the final process on the machines. She grunts out.
You had the ink, right? Mr. Cleric?
Hand her the ink. She quickly looks it over with a stern face.
Green? Really?
They didn't have any black.
Oh, shit. I'll make it out with what we have. Should make it readable still. Green is at least thematically relevant.
She shrugs. Then Medusa pours it into the machine.
Thanks for all this. We'll actually be able to reach that last portion of voters before the election now.
She sighs.
And sorry for the mess. I shouldn't apologize, really, but...
Her voice trails off as she stares at the components on the printer. It's an ideological battlefield. Keep fighting. She keeps working on the machine. All right. I was not expecting an entire confrontation like that. Really cool. All right, so that'll be it for tonight. So the next time that we start, we're going to go into the city below and see if we can get any further on that. Oh, God. Sorry, I'm going to take the time today to get my goddamn shoulder iced up. Throw an ice pack on my shoulder and probably take something to relax me a bit more. Because I would like to maybe not have to miss out on work because of my stupid back. But this has been fun. So, with that done, thanks for joining me, everybody. I had fun getting to talk with you all about the Summer Games Fest stuff and all the other announcements that happened, alongside just getting to finally use our Riz. We got to Riz up an angel, and we had some really fun quest discussion stuff. This game, I say, still has really good writing, despite some instances of it not quite having the same kind of nuance that you see in other games of this type. But I earnestly think this game's actually really cool. So, yeah, that's going to be it. For VOD watchers, I'm usually live on Twitch at 7 p.m. CST. So check my schedule on Blue Sky as well as my schedule on YouTube. Or actually, I forgot to upload on YouTube. 7 p.m. CST, Tuesday through Thursdays. Check my Blue Sky. It's normally where I upload when I go live next. So that's typically it. So keep your eyes out on that. And yeah, nothing else to really announce. So stay hydrated, keep your postures checked, be good out there, and I'll see you next time. Bye.